Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki. Part of the Global Moto Group, we supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are joined by the lads, who isn't one particular guest or anything like that. So we have Joe Ackroyd, we have Josh Corner, and the delicious Christian Idden. So, last time we were all together, I introduced you as the fast, the beautiful, and the I can't remember who got which title.
I know I wanted to switch.
You wanted to switch.
We swapped seats.
So we have, so I think we have switched.
Faster, that's a problem.
But you have been racing, so
I've done a bit, yeah.
You got a bit faster.
Have you?
We're not talking about that.
What do you mean we're not talking about that? That's
later.
exactly the first conversation
A great
we're talking
lead-in.
about here. 100%. Go straight
Hey,
to
you're
it. son.
faster than me.
Well,
There you go.
that's not
There you
honest,
go.
Joe.
No.
What are you joking?
Well, well, to be honest, lads, I think this is I'm really looking forward to this because it's been, I don't even know how long it's been since we all got together. And obviously it was after the Chrissy won and we all got together and we decided to get the show on the go again. And since then, we've had Spanish testing. We've had the first round of BSB. You've got a job working at Martrain. You've been back at Eurosport. You've been, bloody hell, there's been loads going on. So I think we should go back really to, when was it? March? Beginning of March? For
When did you go to
Navara?
Spain? Is that'd be the first thing,
yeah.
because he was in Spain just after we did that.
Yeah.
After we did the pod with us all, he went to Spain.
On a different note, we actually have the director, the owner, the
Watching
editor,
over us.
we are under scrutiny tonight. So God love her, we have Grace here.
What's broken?
Something's always beeping and breaking on this show. So thank God Grace is here because it's like, you know, when you just, well, you two being parents, you know, when like dad, it's broken again, and then dad walks in and just fix it, and you're just whinging. So this scenario is perfect because Grace is here to witness the carnage yet again. God love her.
I don't think I'm a dad of old enough yet where I can fix things for the little one at the moment. Everything just goes in his gob at the moment. So.
Are you panicking about what? I tell you what. Speaking of the dads in the room,
I was just going to say I am at that age, but it's never been that calm. It's never been. Just fix Daddy, this is broken. Can you fix this? It's usually there's something comes flying in the room, smashes something else. The dog runs off. Bottle of wine gets knocked over. It's just.
Oh, not the wine.
Is that the kids?
Yeah. That's the missus. Another bit we've got to edit out.
not a chance. But no, I tell you what, I'm going to ask. This is a total non-motorcycle related question, but what age are you most looking forward to as parents?
18.
When they can drive you at the pub.
the age they leave.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, they might not leave at 18. Fuck.
Yeah, I left at like mid-30s.
Did you? You've got no excuse.
I've got a long time left for my little one.
I'm not bothered about a particular age because they're all just a nightmare, aren't they? They're all just a massive challenge, and the older because I've got two girls, that's just going to be horrendous, isn't it?
Oh, good God!
If I had
You
a
got
lad,
your preloaded baseball bat.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. You've got one dick to worry about. I've got all the dicks to worry about, haven't I? My missus got a fair set of horns on her. The kids have both got blue eyes, blonde hair. They're fucked out, really. It's only going to go one way, isn't it, really? I grow. So, I'm going grey now.
I wasn't going to say it, but...
Yeah. I mean, I'm tatters. I'm tatters, mate. Yeah. Anyway, can we talk about
No, I want to go really deep into that. Anyway, lads, we were talking about Spanish testing. So, how many times have you been out? That's what we live?
Well, that was the first point, wasn't it? From when we sat down and had the crack.
Yeah.
You boys were heading out.
Yeah, Navara.
To Navara.
First time at Navara. So a new track for MSV, so they've just bought the circuit. And it was pretty cool, to be fair. It was, after so long being away from a circuit, I think everyone that went there had the same thing, so we all walked it and we were all like, oh, this is fucking mint, like, it's what a track. And then you ride it and it is so small.
Is it?
Tight, isn't it?
It's, small's the wrong word.
Yeah.
Really wrong word, because it's not so small, it's so tight. So the first third of the track is pretty open, pretty flowing.
Yeah.
And then, well, actually, before we went, I got the gear pattern off the team, and there's 7 first gear corners. And
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I think you've sent me the wrong gear pattern. And he's like, no, that's like, because obviously World Superbike went there, so it was the gearing from World Superbike. I was like, okay, fair enough. Maybe they run like a really long gearing, but no.
But put that in comparison. What's the shortest geared track this country? Is it Knockhill? Is it like...
No, well,
there's not many
most.
first
Yeah,
gear
most
corners.
of the
Knockhill?
circuits are like Knockhill's. Yeah, Knockhill used first at the hairpins. Snet, even the hairpin at Snet is like between second and first. You could use either, and if you think that is a complete 180 back on yourself, and you could use either. So if you put that into
Melbourne
contact,
Loop's first gear.
hey,
Melbourne Loop.
yes, but you could
Goddard's
potentially do
second,
Goddard's.
yeah.
Goddard's is like could be second.
Yeah.
So if you think there's 7 turns that are potentially tighter than Goddard's, which again is a turn back on yourself.
I never
corner.
walked it on the first day because I was hungover, I think. But I didn't walk it anyway because it looked big. And when you stand in the pit lane and watch the lads go past, the first corner's like 6th gear flat.
It's insane.
It's
amazing.
You're like,
Insane.
holy shit. And then when he comes in, he's like, it's so tight. I'm like, well, I don't know what you're on about. And then we watched an onboard video back, and I was like thinking, fuck me, no wonder he's tired. Like, no wonder everybody's saying about
It's
it.
like the second, or after the first third, whoever designed it got his protractor out, and that
And just did
and
switch
that was
back.
literally it. It was just like, fuck it.
But the track's big though, isn't
You know what I mean? I didn't put in for enough for this. I'm just gonna...
Turn 1 was mint. Yeah, after that.
Turn 1 there though is epic. So like,
it looks good.
turn 1 on the end of the last day, there weren't many people that rode because the wind picked up loads, and the wind was in your face as you went into turn 1. In fact, it was in your face and sort of pushing you in. And I think if you were committed, because I wasn't committed, I think if you were fully committed, you could probably go in there pinned in top and get through it.
Right. What was the structure of
And
that?
I mean, and that's a long straight before you get to it. So that is, I think the speed trap was 172 mile an hour, wasn't it?
Ridiculous.
So yeah, you'd be tipping in at 172, and I reckon you could have got round it with the wind in your face. Mental. But then it's a really complex corner because it keeps coming back on yourself.
And then you sort of it's like a double hairpin.
It's a bit like what's that one in Italy? Flipping Curvone, that's it. You know, it's like that, but a bit more.
Back of Mazzano.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's like that, but less flowing. You know, it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
So every time you go through it, you think, oh, I could have done it faster. But
Is
then,
that
like, you go
first
through.
gear after that? Once
Exactly,
you've done that,
yeah.
So you're 6th to first,
Yes.
or back 1 and in.
Yeah, you go through the first one, then you go back a couple, then there's a second kink, and then you go back a few more,
So you're
and then you
braking on the
end
side
up
of the
again.
tyre the
Yeah,
whole time as well. Yeah.
but it is
But turn 3's good because you come back down the hill, and then you go up in the turn 4 after that. It's like sweeping back, comes back up on itself.
and there's a bit of elevation change, and it's a pretty interesting track. And then you switch
like a
back
change
and
of staff, like you say.
you do a right hander over that, and then it just goes to shit.
Yeah.
But-
What's the so is it turn 3 where you come where if you stood in the pit lane, you can. So when we were stood in the pit lane, obviously you
You're
see you
coming
disappear
down
down.
towards you.
You can see them coming back down.
Yeah.
And that looked impressive. That was really well. Jack crashed there on the last day.
Yeah, the biggie, didn't it?
Yeah, it actually wasn't a massive crash, but it ended up being one. But he just lost the front. I think a few people went down in the wind, didn't they?
Well,
But it was quick.
there's also a big bump there,
Yeah.
and it was one of them bumps you couldn't see. Like some laps you'd hit it, you were completely unsighted. It was
But
it was horrible.
because it was open pit lane and it was sessioned, wasn't it? But there were long sessions, and so you would get like the odd time where there would just be like one bike going around and you could hear it. And a superbike with that much horsepower and the thing is singing, and you're just like, holy shit, that sounds unreal. And it just made you want to ride.
Because what was the lap times? Like 1 minute. Ooh, what were they?
I can't remember. Like Kyle Ryde was like 3 seconds faster than anyone. It was just
Ridiculously fast,
insane.
But what like, bear in mind that Navara wasn't the first BSB test. There was people were out in Spain.
No, that was
the first
it was the
BSB.
first BSB one, yeah.
But I think if you could sign up to Navara, you could do other Spanish
No,
testing.
you had to sign up to Navara.
You had to sign up to Navara,
Yeah.
right?
Let's be careful what we say.
I'm just gonna.
No. I'm just trying to think because obviously, no, the year
get a
beforehand,
text.
Honda ran a test at.
I've got a long laugh when straight after this comes out.
Yeah, there was a test that I think was organised by
Four grid spot
Honda
penalty. Yeah.
the week before in Andalusia, which we went to. I think it was Honda that ran that or something. But if you went there, you had to essentially. There was no saying I'm not going to Navara.
But then there was a little bit of play with it because like FS3 they went there for a day after doing their own testing.
Yeah.
How was all that structured then? So was there all live timing on there so you could see how everyone was going?
Yeah,
like a BSB.
just like a BSB.
It was like a BSB.
Yeah,
right.
properly,
So they
yeah.
didn't run
And
it as
to be fair, the circuit was good. Like the facilities are mint.
Oh, excellent.
insane.
Proper Grand Prix circuit and the
Proper.
fucking go-kart. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing again. The go-kart track was really good and we had a lot of fun.
Which is always very important.
Yeah.
I was really shit and really slow.
No, but that's
But the facilities are mega. You know, it's a proper, like, the control tower,
Yeah,
like,
proper.
the garages are like, it's a proper circuit, it's a proper facility. You know,
Just
like,
off the
it's
motorway.
real good.
Well, when you drive in, well, you were there, weren't you? You drive. We're saying that as if you weren't there. You were bloody
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
And
I forgot.
When he only did 4 laps, but he was there.
5.
He came in wanting to borrow my suspension guy. Didn't even say hello.
Oh, mate, I'm generally scared of. I'm like, you know, when you just walk in somewhere and it's like the head teacher's colony or something like that. I was just like, I think I owe Wilf like $5,000, and I've only seen him twice. You know, it's like
At the first race, he wanted to. Well, I was going to say borrow toe sliders, but you can't borrow toe sliders. That's like borrowing a piece of pizza. You can't give it back, can you? But, you know, like he wanted to borrow toe sliders. So I was like, yeah, they're just in my garage. Like I'd put them out for him. It took him like 3 days to build up the courage just to walk in the garage and go and pick them
Well,
up.
so yeah.
have you met? I tell you what, I walked in right.
He didn't want to get ridiculed for his earring.
No, that was
Smooth.
Yeah, that was good because he's covered it up. I forgot about that.
they're called headphones, mate.
Oh, well,
They
I
cover the ear.
didn't think about that. I was thinking we'd just easily talk about it, but
That's why I've had to get it in straight away.
No, but I didn't want to really talk about it, to be honest.
Was it a bet?
Mate, it was one night out in Castle Douglas, Wednesday night, full of woodcutters. I got pinned down, got an ear piercing. There was chickens in the living room. It was nuts. Anyway. I'm not going to dive. We're talking about motorbikes here and apologising to Will.
He's still got it in though.
You got to
He's still
show. We've got to have a
Mate,
look.
I think it's infected.
Yeah,
look.
they made me do it so much that I've still got it.
That I can't take it out.
What about
They've
live on
welded
show?
it in.
Take it off. Do you want to continue?
We need to see it.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Grace, insert a picture. I'll get.
Grace has already taken side footage of this. Grace, don't want to swap seats.
That'll be
You
the picture and
direct this one.
the little icon for the podcast, won't it?
Like
It'll
a
just be
big
the
dog's
earring.
earring.
Just your earring.
We've not had anything.
He literally winked at me.
I know, it's
If you're
first one.
watching us on YouTube, he went to blind shot and winked at me. Like, hold on, son, what's going on here? So anyway, yeah, I'm scared of Wilf. Where are we going to go from after that? Shit scared of Wilf.
Well, no, so
I walked in Navara, right? And K-Tech were there, Motec were there. That's the thing about the BSB tests. And said, oh, yeah, K-Tech are kicking around. So I walked in looking like I've come off a stag do at Benidorm. You know what I mean? No team gear and not one bit in us. I walked in, let's make a round. And Wilf just goes, what are you after? I said, just me, the most simple job in the world. Adjusting the height and the shock. It's just 2 bolts off the bottom and adjust it. He's like, he's over there. And I just went up to One Click Mick and I'm like, are you here as K-Tech or? And he goes, nope, working for Wilf. I went, oh. So I'll probably get an invoice from Wilf any moment, any day now. Going, you've taken this time off him. So, but like you say, just walking into his garage to get some toe slide, I was like, oh shit, that bed. I was like, here we go, you all right? I've been, like, Christians let me come in here. And he's like, get out my garage. Got him. See ya. And I literally legged it clean out, 100%. But like a couple of years ago, was it 2 years ago, a year ago, that Spanish testing was cancelled. Cancelled, you couldn't do it. Was that?
Well, it was
2
mainly
years?
COVID, wasn't it?
Well, obviously, COVID.
But that's what started.
No,
the
there
stop.
wasn't.
No, but
There was already a ban on it. So there was a ban on. You could go before Christmas. That came in, didn't it? And then they sort of did a ban until a certain point of time.
But was it actually COVID? Was it not in place before COVID?
So
It's foreign testing, but there wasn't a full ban on it. It was a ban on when you could go.
Yeah.
So
And
just,
on what?
Yeah,
Everyone-
and on what?
Because everyone was going out and stock 1,000 bikes and binning them and crashing them and all
Well,
sorts.
that's the
weren't
other
they?
problem.
You know
So
what
it's a cost-saving measure, but then is it ever a cost-saving measure? Because then
You
the
buy another
teams
bike.
/ riders have to then go and buy a bike and make it as close as you can to a race bike, and then go and ride it. So you've ended up with a second bike.
Yeah.
Where do you sit on the Spanish testing? Because a
Yeah.
lot of boys. I was going to name names. I'm not going to bring names into it, but some lads I know dead against it. They just don't see the point. They don't see the benefit of it. Yes, it's bike time, but it's bike time in a
Well, I mean,
not in the
circumstances,
right
isn't it?
environment that they're going to be racing in the UK. So they don't really buy into it.
In a way, this year it's probably showing it up a little bit more because a lot of teams didn't go, and actually the British testing, not a lot happened because of the poor weather,
Yeah.
and then it
And it
didn't
was bad,
seem to
yeah.
make too much of a difference when we got to Silverstone anyway,
No.
as in results.
Yeah.
But a lot of those riders were on the same bikes and that they'd been on previously, so that sort of negates a lot of it.
It does, but winter's a longer winter, isn't it?
It is a
It's
long
time
winter.
not to be on a bike.
Like, so a few years back, I did the Stocker thing, and
Yeah.
and that I think was detrimental. I was like, when I signed up with PBM, I was like, right, just got to absolutely I've always thought I've done everything right, but I was like, just flipping, invest in yourself. Just loaded a van up with a bike and everything and just spent like 2 months in Spain. Rode it around for 2 months, and then they turned up to the same track with the race bike and I hated it because I'm so comfy on my little stocker. You know, like, I was like, I want my comfy
Which is
stocker bike.
which is lovely to
Which
ride
is lovely and plush, and then, so it was almost detrimental.
Yeah.
I'd gone beyond the point.
That's just getting bike
I'd
time.
gone beyond the point of getting yourself a little bit sharp, which I think is really important. And I'd gone to the point of getting myself really comfy on a bike I wasn't going to race.
Yeah.
So I think there's a point. To do with Spanish testing, I think it is difficult because the tarmac is a lot more granite based. So it gives a completely different feedback. So it's always the case that usually the winner in Spanish testing is very rarely the winner at the first round of BSB because it's so different.
Yeah.
It's just the weather. It's the fact that you can get out and go.
And just spin laps.
And again, that showed it up even more this year because we did 4 days of testing in the UK pre the start of the year.
You didn't
and
do
it.
You didn't do a dry. You're the same.
there
You
was
didn't
no
do
And
a
even when it
dry
was
lap, did you,
even
before?
on the sessions where it was dry-ish, it was like 5 degrees.
Way too cold.
You know, like
Fucking horrendous.
we say way too cold. Kyle again flipping whatever lap time he did around Donington, but you know, like it just almost wasn't worth anything.
Yeah.
So British testing didn't really happen.
But no, I'm just.
So where do I sit? I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
Depends
know.
if you're on a brand new bike. Like if you're on a brand new bike, new team, you just need to ride it, don't you?
But
So
then-
it's great in that respect.
Yeah, but then, so for example, yesterday I went to Mallory testing because we had a load of gremlins at the first round. Went yesterday to Mallory, and it was real good of Hawk and the Mallory crew to let us on there, by the way. So thank you to them, big up to them. And like probably one of the best, most productive days of testing I've ever had in my whole time.
Brilliant.
Without giving too much away, why was that?
Well, as in, why was it so productive?
Yeah.
Because it was low numbers on track. It was fully open track time, so there was no other classes. There was 5 of us.
Were you the only superbike rider there, BSB superbike rider?
No, because there was me and Charlie and Josh, so the other 2 Hawk guys.
All right, aye. So there was
Michael Dunlop was there, Leon Geacock was there. They were getting ready for the Northwest. So was Brad Clark getting ready for the Northwest, from Power Slide. So they were just doing what they were doing. But you're there under no pressure. Like literally, it wasn't about lap times. It was also good because you're not at a track you're going to race at. So it really isn't about lap times.
Yeah.
It almost helps.
Did Charlie knock you off this time, or?
Stayed away from him. We'll get to that.
All right, cool.
But it was a good day then.
But it was just so good.
He brought the
There was no pressure. There was no one looking over your shoulder. There was no we had so many little things to tick off the list that were real little niggles, and
Can
it was just
can you tell with some of them or not?
the niggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had loads of issues with electronic stuff. The team have worked super hard and tried to do something really clever, and it takes time.
Yeah. Because someone who was at Mallory yesterday, I won't say who it was, 'cause I don't want to embarrass him. I was talking to him on the phone just on the way up here, and he said at the start of the day, you looked like, average is not the word he used, but he said like you looked.
That was nice of him.
No, it's not the word he used, but he meant like you obviously like didn't look comfortable.
Yeah.
Right, was more what he didn't use the word average.
Imagine
But
a girl
shit.
saying that.
he
about
said
your
like didn't look
performance.
comfortable.
Well, you're average.
But was then like
And me being happy about it.
but was like
Yes!
even
Do you know how hard it is to be average? We're going up.
Putting a big
he's
effort
gonna
there.
he's gonna know who he's
need to
gonna
know
know
who
who
it
it
is
is. He's
now.
gonna no, it's fine. And he but he said like was visibly shocked at the end of the day, like how he was like, holy fuck, that was really, you looked like you had achieved something.
Yeah.
Like visually looked much better. He didn't say you were average, he just said like looked uncomfortable, but then by the end of the day it was like
Was I slightly above average at the end of the day?
like a massive step. Well, he's obviously right, because it rings true with what you're saying. But.
So again, in terms of testing, like you can have a day at Mallory, and actually we ticked off more than we did in 3 days in Spain and 4 days in the UK.
So, going back to Joe's original question, where do you and Wilf stand on Spanish testing now then? With this scenario that you've just...
I don't know about Wilf, but I think for me, I think it's when the championship always has the first round on Easter, it forces the hand that you need to go somewhere to try and find better weather. Doesn't necessarily have to be Spain, does it? You could go anywhere, but Spain is the go-to because it's cheap and easy and everything.
Yeah.
I think it forces the hand. It's very difficult not to do something like that.
I don't think that you've really got an option anywhere else. I mean, you've got to go south. You've got to go south for the weather.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to France.
And even Navara wasn't warm at first, but then it got better, didn't it?
Yeah, actually, it was looking. There was talk of our team not going because
The week before.
the weather looked like it was going to be really bad.
Snowing,
It was
wasn't it?
snowing. Like when you looked on the cams, it was actually like it was pissing
Do you
down.
know?
the sun.
Do you know the thing is like, I think the Navara test was enough. So, one, it cost a fortune. Like, to go testing is just expensive, isn't it? Like tires, everything, and you're not throwing tires at it, but you are using them probably more than you are on a race weekend. And a lot of teams went to like Monte Blanco, Andalusia, and the Navara test. Like, see, like even you would have to change an engine on a superstock bike. That's how much mileage they were doing, and.
We could do a season race.
And then some
on
of them teams have come back and like not performed for whatever reason. And you think, actually, those few days in Navara were enough. The BSB test, if the weather are good, if the weather's good in the UK, it's loads of track time. And you were saying, like, look how much track time you got. And I know the weather wasn't great, but they're not like, in comparison to like a normal track day, they're not stupidly more expensive than what a normal track day would be. So the hundreds, not thousands, to be at them. Do you know what I mean?
The only problem with the BSB tests in the UK as opposed to BSB tests in abroad is the BSB tests abroad tend to be open pit lane. Yes, you stop for lunch, but it's open pit lane.
Yeah.
Whereas like the BSB tests in the UK, you get 2 sessions a day.
Yeah.
Or maybe 3, I can't remember. But you know, like
like 3
you
1
get
hour sessions. Yeah.
And that is where like I go back to it, but yesterday there was no time constraints. I don't even mean time constraints as in the end of your session's coming up, but also the start of your next session. There is literally, yes, we're ready. No, we're not.
The boys can be really relaxed with plugging in, taking any bodywork off.
Making sure it's right.
They can just put it back
You're
together.
You're not rushing to make a session. Yeah, no, that is right.
Makes all the difference.
That makes a huge difference.
You're not panicking like because you're going to miss time at the start of the session.
I was half asleep yesterday at one point.
And you're normally making bigger changes, aren't you? Really, you're trying stuff, aren't you? Especially early on in the year, so you need the time. Like, it does make sense. But I don't think 3 big Spanish tests that a lot of teams did. I mean, they might argue different, but I think the Navara test was enough.
I think it also depends what track, you know, like, so, yeah, you mentioned they went to Andalusia. I've never done Andalusia, but it's a bit of an odd track. It used to be. What's the other half of Andalusia? Almeria. So that's always a really weird one, a bit like Cartagena, very front-endy, you know, like, you don't get any tracks in the UK like it. Monte Blanco, I've done that before. That is a shit track.
It's a straight corner.
That is a waste of time to go testing that, because you literally blow a tyre out in 5 laps.
Yeah.
So you can't test, because if you're going to try something, you put a new tyre in, go and try the bike, then they make a change, but then your tyre's fucked, so you come back in and you're like, well, I don't know because the tyre's fucked. You put a new tyre in to test what you're testing, and a new tyre fixes everything anyway. Yeah. So it's just literally just throwing tyres at a bike.
Which is mad to think when you were talking about like comparing against like Navara. You were saying like, there's like 7
Navara was actually quite good for tyre wear and stuff, so you could get a test on the way. It was pretty good for that.
But for a first gear turn everywhere, that's actually quite impressive. You know, for you superbike lads, you'd think, well, first gear, there's more aggression.
There's always something you can work on. You know, it's like engine brake strategies. You know, making the thing turn quick.
Yeah,
making it smooth on throttle. There's always something you can do.
You had a bit of everything. I know
you did have a bit of everything. Just the second half of the track wants a bit of work, and there's a lot of talk of it having work done, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now that MSV own it, they were very open. I went in there and had a chat with Stuart Higgs, and he was basically, the first question was like, "Let us know what you think, and if there's any ideas." We're open to it.
You know, didn't see a bloody mountain.
Do you think they'll try and put a round in there like they did with Assen?
That was the main question here, isn't it? You know, is it going to happen?
I mean, surely.
Your suggestion about it being the first round would be the best idea.
Sure,
really.
why? It makes sense. The team is out there.
Explain this idea of yours. It's great.
I can't necessarily claim it, but it's it's a bit like
Chasin the Racin way of saying it's your idea.
So. World Superbike always used to go to Australia and they'd have a test the week before. And then they're not going to go home and then go back to Australia.
No.
So
first round's a week later.
The first round's a week later. So why not do that for BSB? All the trucks go out there. You do your testing. You know, the teams are out there. And then a week later, you have a holiday. And then a week later, you go racing. Round 1. Mega.
I think it'll be great because like the nearest airport's like Bilbao. And what was that? 40...
It's not an awesome place to get to, I've got to admit.
Yeah, the 9-hour drive from Andalusia.
But the driving element. But no, as far as getting like, you know, British, like the British fans involved, you know what I mean? You could fly into Bilbao.
Yeah, that's not to get the British fans there is not as easy as to say Assen was. You know, Assen was you go on the party boat and then an hour and a half later you're at the track and it's easy. That's a long old boat down to Bilbao, Santander, and then it's close from there. The airport's not massive. There's not loads of flights there. Was there? Like pretty much everyone was on the flight.
You'd end up flying to Barcelona and driving to like 3 hours.
Access isn't awesome, but you know these tracks out in Spain are like the government circuits to build up places that haven't got anything there.
Yeah.
So you've got to accept that they're in the middle of nowhere. That's what Aragon was. That's what Navara
There's
is.
plenty of places to stay, wasn't there? We stayed in a little town called Estella, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and it was really...
Really? Well,
yeah,
I thought I was
brilliant.
in Baghdad where I was.
Oh, you went the wrong... Wilf booked that, did he? Of course he did.
You went left out the track, you went right.
We stayed in a gorgeous place. It was really nice. I loved the little village we were in. And I'd love to go there for a round. It was great. I thought the
thing
track
is,
was excellent.
the organisers will know that the logistical nightmare for getting spectators out there, won't they? They'll have taken that into account.
But that was actually part of the conversation, and like, it's not, the spectators are so important on site,
Yeah.
but the first round isn't always the most well attended
Silverstone's
because it
difficult
sort
anyway,
of
isn't it?
takes time for people to actually understand that the series has got going. Even though we all know that's the first round, until you sort of watch that. Oh yeah, BSB's had its first round, and then people sort of start to book.
And as you say,
going.
everyone's out there already.
Everyone's
All the
out there
trucks
already.
there, the boys are there. Just do a round there, get on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, production to do a film for them to film it and televise it, it's a lot of money. So that would be where they'd have to justify spending.
Well, also,
I don't know. It's all filmed by the same producers that do World Superbike, innit? So I don't think it makes much difference. I'm sure they'll have the same. They only rent in the things.
Yeah, but the cost of running
Oh, I
that
see.
over a weekend
Yeah.
could be 160 to 250 grand to do TV coverage.
Yeah.
That's an average cost of TV over.
It's only
a
one
weekend
Joe
is-
Ackroyd invoice that.
Yeah. So they'll have to weigh up whether or not it's worth doing it.
But it's an interesting concept. I think,
Yeah.
like, and there's the argument, British Championship, but flip, we've been to Aston before. We've been to Mondello Park before, if you want to argue the toss with that one. But,
Will that ever come back? Well, not after the insurance, everything. They can't race in the south of Ireland at all. No.
I did see a thing they put out the other day about that, an update, but it wasn't much of an update. The update was, we're turning off our comments because we're in talks with 3 or 4 providers,
Oh, right.
and they've asked us not to
Comment about
comment. So, yeah, it was a comment to not comment.
Touche. There we go. But I tell you, so this leads us into round one. Really, it's a bit like.
Well, hang on.
Oh, go on. Oh, go
No,
on.
We're not there yet.
Are we not?
We've had the update from the superstar in the corner, but we want to know how the how the
Josh
BMW
Corner. I know
was.
exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were there because you didn't do much, did you? Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Because
All right, massive. Fucking hell.
you've built this BMW and then
I'm average and you didn't do much.
Yeah, check Grace. Yeah, check Grace. Hold on. How many? I scored more points than you in one race. That's.
Not in the first round. I mean, sorry, I meant at the test. You didn't ride much at the test.
No, but Christian was saying, it was just like the weather wasn't on anyone's side on that side.
Oh
of
man,
things.
the bloody Spanish test.
Yeah,
That's
what
what he's
happened in
asking.
Oh shit! Sorry. There you go. Well, basically, from the crash at the TD, I went back over to TAS in Northern Ireland there and rebuilt the bike, alongside with Lee, put it up on the dyno, no problems whatsoever. And at that point, you go, well, I'm prepared for the season. I wanted to do the 2 opening rounds as like stock 1,000, just get track time, something that I've never done before the TD. I've always been just trying to get bikes put together, blah, 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 get the violin out. But Alan Garner, God love him, found a bit of space in his race wagon to take my bike over. So it just cost me and Lauren like 70 quid each in flights.
Oh really?
Yeah, to Bilbao. And then it cost like 30 quid split. So me, Lauren and Andy Brown went out, 70 quid in flights each. Got there, rolled it out of pit lane, mint, and then 5 laps in, the bike was switching off, and then while riding on the ear of it, it would just switch down and then fully come back in. It was like reading ECU recoding. I'm like, what the hell's this? So anyway, came back in, stripped it, went back out. So I did 21 laps in 4 days of riding in Navara.
Jesus.
Which is upset because where you're there,
It was a real
can't get
shame.
home.
I was gutted for you. It was a real shame that.
and it was gutting, absolutely gutting.
Have you got that sorted now?
Nope.
Okay.
But
So-
just no idea what it is.
No,
It was
well-
a dash issue, wasn't it?
Well, so the Motec lads that were there, said it was the dash. Now the dash is just a data receiver, so that just talks to the ECU. The ECU is the brain that controls the actual bike movements and everything like that. But they were saying it's the dash that was switching the bike off. Now, who was there? The only other BMW rider there was Leon Haslam.
Mm-hmm.
And a lad called Lewis, who's worked with like FHO and stuff like that, he's saying, well, it can't be, So lucky for me, like the good thing about doing that test, it was good to find the problem early. It was good to find the problem period, but I was 2 weeks ahead. Well, hold on, 3 weeks ahead of like my first round, which would have been Croft Northeast. So I found the problem early, and then I've taken the bike, picked the bike up from Alan Garner's workshop, gone straight to Peter Hickman's, and they've sent the dash off to Motec England, and now the dash is having to get sent back to Australia.
Jesus.
Yeah. And this is where it gets a bit technical on this side of things. But
they can't take a dash off Peter's bike and plug that in yours.
These are the problems
give you a spare to run then.
Well, the problem on that side of things is once you update the Motec dashes to a 21 software for the BMWs, you can't backdate them to a 19. Mine's a 19 bike.
Right.
So everyone who's got the bikes have updated their gear. That opens up the parameters for engine brake and wheelie control, everything. It's just a better system. You can't go backwards on it. And
you can't upgrade your bike to the 21 on system.
Because I can't get a hold of looms. So this is now, while finding the problem...
They don't make it easy for you.
They do not make it easy. Oh no, but this
is going to be the same bike with a few updates, but those updates will completely ride the backpipe out of you if you have any problems.
Well, me and my mate bought that bike last year from TAS. It was like 35 grand. Like both me and him.
TAS don't have a spare.
No, but you see, TAS, funny enough, when I rang Lee, they weren't at the Spanish test. They had a problem with Danny Buchan's stock foul bike. So they pre-enhanced the problem for, pre-saw the problem for us and went, your dash is going to end up in Australia. And there'll be a few people listening to this going, why the hell Australia? Well, the firm was started off in Australia. And my next question after that was, why cannot anyone over here fix a problem internally? It's because the software is so expensive to break down. So you've got a CAN system, like every vehicle in the world controls it. So it's like a Microsoft fucking doobie dad. That's so doobie dad. That's how technical I get. So the doobie dad can't talk to that doobie dad, which switches all the doobie dads off. Now to break into that system, it's like multi-million-pound software, and it's too expensive for Motec at the time, being a family firm, to set up branches in America, England, Europe, everywhere.
Everything
like that
just goes back there.
So the whole company has to go back to Australia. Now, within all of this, I rang Lee Johnson, I rang every team, I rang everyone about dashes.
Did you ring Honda?
Tempting to ring Javier. Very, very tempted. Very, very tempted. But no, so shut up. Shagger. You know who this is. There you go.
You didn't know.
No, but so what I found out between all this is Motec has been bought out by Bosch, a German company.
Right.
Oh, is it? That's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought
this is the problem when the plot thickens. So there's been a back order for absolutely everything on Motec. They're not producing any. They're not working on any of them. So my little problem is one small dot on the map. What does the whole BSB championship run on?
I would imagine they'll have
Motec.
something sorted for that. Though.
Well,
they'd have to.
No, but the mad thing is, at the end of the day, Alpha are struggling to get. I rang Alpha, I rang out, can't get them. Some people are producing new bikes and they're getting turned out, but teams who had them, I was on the phone to Lee Johnson, and when he was selling his R6, Lee was telling me that someone tried to buy his R6 just for the dash.
Wow.
That's how, now, don't get me wrong, this is a problem for the championships, not just BSB. You think for God's sake, Motec started off in boat racing. So you think all them softwares,
I think cars and everything.
It's cars.
Yeah.
It is massive. But because the policing of the championship at BSB that's made it so fair, to make any bike capable of winning is through Motec. What happens when people start cartwheeling their motorcycles?
Yeah.
Can't get a hold of dashes. Now, my dash is on the way to Australia. Now,
so have they given you any sort of timeline for getting that back with regards to TT getting nearer?
Might not even be able to go to the Northwest. Supposed to be at Cookstown this weekend. Had to cancel that. I wanted to do obviously get the Grace, is that violin mode? I was
going to say,
background
keep going, someone will chuck a bike at you, aren't they? This is a desperate move to get a ride done.
It's great. But I just
I seen him throw that dash on the floor in the garage.
Yeah, is that what he was stamping on?
but seriously though, I'm a little bit like.
Well, it is a worry.
It is a worry, and hopefully they're like, at the end of the day, I don't know how like. At the end of the day, I don't work for Motec.
It's been boxed up, put on a plane and sent to Australia, and you've no idea what's happening. They don't send you an email to say, we've got it, we're going to do this with it, you can expect it back on this day.
Like my
your invoice will come through the letterbox with a thing.
But the good thing is, like Hickman's lads, and Hickman himself, that like if it's coming from PHR, it's going to get a lot further than Dominic Herbertson writing on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's nothing against Motec. It's like they're a big he rides for the BMW factory team.
Yeah.
If he can't get a hold of a dash quick enough,
so you know what I mean? You've done 21 laps on
5 really fast ones.
Can you not?
I'm not just, he would have been in trouble. You know what I mean?
Can you not run your dash on the standard road dash?
It's because of the way the wiring loom that reads up to the, mate, I've tried it. Like, I'd have to re-strip it out, but the whole advantageous part of it
is gone.
It's gone.
You'd be on
so
a real
like,
stocker, yeah.
But yeah, a real stocker, isn't it? And it's like, well, there's a lot left in the bike how it is, but it's, we're still going to get to the TD, but it's making the job a little bit more harder. But no, but my main worry is, I hope I'm not on the inside, far from it. I just know what I've found from my own personal experiences. But if there is a problem, I really hope there is a potential solution. Even to keep the championship how it's fair. The BSB, even the roads element. I tell you what, I did find out was really interesting.
I wonder if they've got like an allocation of spares that are for BSB.
But
you cannot sell these. These are for last championship.
Let's talk about Chrissy. Chrissy was the ultimate privateer. He was scoring points and everything like that, and they would have struggled to get a dash.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they've got 20 dashes.
You'd like to think a company like that have got the BSB allocation sat on the shelf.
No, which is fair enough for the Premier class BSB.
Yeah,
but the 600 class, that's the class. That's the next Premier class.
You know that the teams pay,
even like
the support they get from Motec. It's like £800 a year or something to be able to go and talk to them at the meeting. Like they pay for the service, so I don't know. Maybe it's contractually they're obliged to keep so much for people who pay for the support.
Aye. No, but I don't know. I'm not doing this for fear mongering or anything like that. I hope that
it is interesting. I didn't know it was bought by Bosch either.
Well, that's it. But it's.
I mean, that's really interesting because the Bosch thing.
The World Superbike job.
Well, it can't be denied. Really, they've not had much success, have they?
Well, you ask sort of that question.
BMWs have reinvented that bike over and over and over again. It's had lots of different engine configurations. It's had all like the aero stuff done. It's had everything chassis wise. They've persevered with their own Bosch electronics. So you can only assume, big assumption, but you can only assume they've gone and bought Motec because they can, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Just an acquisition of technology.
Yeah.
But the bigger picture is that should benefit everyone outside of Australia in the long run, because Bosch will then
have the
Bosch is a big thing
in place.
Motec's a pretty big thing, but Bosch is like
massive.
They'll have the infrastructure to be able to say, right, well, we're going to base a proper Motec in the UK and one in Europe, and
but like I say, it's
Bosch Motec or something, won't it?
That's it. But at the time being, as a customer,
right now,
at the moment, it's a problem. But I really what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to say the job's fucked. I don't know enough about it, but I hope it doesn't fuck the job. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It's a bit mental. Same with Ken Cams, because we've got we've been running around Fran's bike, it's a 2010 ZX10, and we've bought an engine together and we're trying to update it and put some better cams in it. We've just been running around stock stuff, and we can't get a hold of cams. And you think, and then you speak to certain I was speaking to Steve Rogers, and it's even he's struggling to get a hold of Yamaha. It's it just seems we've been a long way since Brexit and a long way since COVID. And getting
hold of parts. I mean, guys, that was pretty clear and obvious, wasn't it?
I'm saying nothing.
When Jack rogered that bike, there wasn't many parts left, was there, to build a new one?
There
were certain bits you were short of.
Yeah.
That was, and just to be clear,
your hands really that tight?
That was in,
no, I just don't want to say the wrong.
I don't think it's saying the wrong thing. It's not the team. I'm not saying that's the team's fault. I'm saying if there's a shortage of getting stuff, there's a shortage of getting stuff.
So our team get get real good support from McCams.
Yeah,
and there was the thing is they started from fresh. So whereas McCams might have damaged tanks from the year before
Yeah,
and stuff
so you
like
can
that.
just chuck some on or...
Yeah, whereas, and to be fair, they were massively helpful, and the crash in Spain absolutely did basically write a bike off. But if the weather had been amazing, it would have rolled out the first session at Silverstone. It probably looked worse than it did in that sense, but absolutely, you got to think the factory stuff that comes from Yamaha. There's like 5 teams in the world that use that, and Yamaha don't make fairings, but a supplier that they contract out to do it does. But they only make them like twice a year, so you have to order them all. I mean, OMG don't even have them fairings; they've got the whole style fairing and stuff like that.
But that's what I mean. The whole but I think that it echoes through every industry. You know what I mean? Cars are struggling to get part. It just. Why all of a sudden it seems like we've gone through the crap essentially as like, COVID, Brexit and everything in that regard is like directly in like
I don't know why it is.
But it just seems to slow down.
Ducati was really late with a lot of stuff, or not Ducati, but supplies of fairings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
not Ducati, is it?
It's not Ducati, but I don't know. But I don't actually know the reason why. I think there's lots of different reasons from each company.
Yeah.
I can't quite understand what it is.
It's like
because you think if there's people wanting to buy stuff, I'd be like, yeah, I'll make it.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
You want 10 of them? Cool. Yeah.
You don't realise how much goes in. Like a superbike's another level, isn't it? It's my first experience doing anything with superbike, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Are you enjoying it though?
Yeah, look, it's really good. It's busy and it's excellent, but it's class.
So what are you doing for Jack then?
So
the fluffer.
I make the tea for the guy that makes the coffee.
They are, Jack. It's ready for you.
Yeah,
Cheeky bastard.
Sorry, that was an in-joke. We were chatting about fluffing.
fluffers.
Pre-pod fluffing was going on.
Josh
I
is
like
playing
it how
dumb going, what's a fluffer? What's a fluff?
Needed a full explanation.
So
If I see Jack with a big smile on himself the next round, I'm just going
And him with a tired arm.
You know,
He's Googled fluffing and he knows how to do it.
you know what I'm worried about is people will be listening to this going, why were they talking about that before they were talking about it?
Because it was
all
cold.
I'm saying is it started over here.
Yeah, Christian wants to do it free of charge. Wants work experience as a fluffer, weirdo.
But you had a mega first round.
It was really good. Really, really good. Go on.
Now that we're in the mood of grassing each other up, he's been hitting the gym hard and he dislocated his arm.
Yeah, and he's got a thing about tapping me on the shoulder.
I am so sorry, mate. I've literally just tapped
out. It's like
I wouldn't like you keep jumping like that.
about 4 hours ago, it was hanging out the front of my body. Yeah. Anyway, move on.
We'll move on from there. There we go. So yeah, let's talk. Well, where we're going to go from there? Let's
Round
talk
one.
about Round one, baby. Round one.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's out of the way, isn't it? That's your shit round done.
Okay.
If we talk about who's hot and who's not, I was not hot. I think I was the worst performer at Silverstone.
You still finished 11th in the third race, was it? Did you have DNF, a crash, and a
Had a
an
mechanical, got took out, and then finished a very lacklustre 11th.
But on a total different note,
As a joint favourite by the bookies as I came into round one, that was not exactly.
I'm going to put like.
Yeah, but your
50
bad
quid on
luck's
you
out the way now.
'cause
You've
your
had that.
Odds are being well against
your shit rounds out
So
the
if we
way.
talk about who's hot and who's not, obviously Brooksy was.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's hard to say a revelation because he's double British champion.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like,
And this is hard for you to be nice.
no, do you know what? It's not actually. I don't mind credit where
You
it's
rode
due.
really fucking well.
Fucking hell, yeah. No, like really impressive.
He
Really,
looked like
really
the old
impressive.
Brooksy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he has come out the gate at all that. He was the only person out at all them British tests in the sludge, in the rain.
Yeah, but he had to. That was necessity.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Spain and they had a lot of issues.
No,
But wasn't he racing?
So he was rolling around doing very simple stuff. He wasn't necessarily going fast. He was just getting things to work.
And he's done a lot in Australia over the winter.
Yeah,
and
he's raced a
been,
lot.
Been racing
He was
over
race
there.
ready. That was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But then there's that. Chris, he always talked about it on the show. He always talked about risk and reward element. But then you can't. That eagerness, that drive to go, you can't knock that out of him because, like you say, he's done a lot of testing, he's done a lot of racing, he's race ready. Out of anyone on that grid, he could have been the one to park it up. As far as track time, throughout the winter, you know what I mean. If you actually sum it up on paper, and he didn't, I thought
It
actually,
just proves to you that why he's double British champion.
Aye?
And why he's where he is. And it was interesting to hear Whittam say that he'd like proper written him off.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah, he
really
did-
fair of him to say because that's a bold comment, isn't it? He sort of thought he was done.
It's a
and that
bold
was
comment,
it.
but I think it's a fair one. I think.
Well, I think a lot of people thought this,
as riders, we all sort of know who we think is going to be
Yeah.
in the battle, and I didn't necessarily think Josh was going to be
there. Yeah, no,
And
I thought he'd be somewhere. I didn't think he'd be there. Like I didn't think he'd be winning.
And actually,
the first
round one threw up a lot of who's hot and who's not in terms of like Danny Kent.
Yeah.
Super hot.
Yeah.
I think
Super hot.
I've got to swallow a bit of fucking humble pie on Jack, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was going to make that transition that easy. That's hard to go from that 600 to a superbike.
I mean, it's only round one, but like obviously being there and being in the garage and stuff, people underestimate the determination and the work he puts into it.
I was dead impressed with that. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have said that to him, have written him off being a superbike rider. He's rode some superbikes and they're shit. They've been shit, You don't need to mention the names. People know. And
I don't know if people had written him off. I just don't think people expected him to be coming out the gates and being where he was. Yeah. And we've heard a lot of people saying about, Silverstone, people that generally do all right there, it's not a fair representation of what the championship's going to deliver.
Racetrack's a racetrack.
But
he's got that thing flatter, but that's about it.
He's got that thing working. He looks happy. He's comfortable. He's obviously happy what the boys are doing. He's going to come away from that weekend with his chest puffed out, feeling like Conor fucking McGregor, isn't he?
100%. He's a bit of a name drop. He knows him as well, so yeah.
It was proper good weekend. There's like a lot gone into the whole thing for the team. The team are really experienced, but Superbikes is a different level again, and just the commitment from everyone's been amazing. Really, really good. I'm personally enjoying being involved in it because we're like almost like a team of ex-racers as well. So everyone's sort of raced at some level in there. So everyone gets it and everyone's fired up and passionate about it. And it's a great bunch of people.
Is it like really good the little family vibe as well?
Yeah. It does feel very much like that.
It's as physical numbers go, it looks like a really small team. Effective. I'm not like that.
Yeah, lean in terms of what you would look at McCams or other superbike teams, definitely, or OMG and stuff like that. There's seems to be just hundreds of people walking around, but there's a relatively lean team, but everyone's doing a job. Like,
did Jack expect that to be such a strong round?
Yeah, I think he did. Was he? I think he was pleased. He was definitely pleased with his results, and he exceeded expectations for everyone. I think.
Why are you looking so cross?
I'm not cross. I'm thinking. That's my thoughtful face.
Yeah, I think
I'll take it in. Sorry.
If when he rode it at Donington last year, if he'd have turned around and said you're going to finish 7th, you'd have took that. And it wasn't just 7th; it was 7th
in amongst the job.
Like he probably could have. He probably could have gone to the front in a couple of those races. I looked at after Silverstone, we were chatting and stuff, and I got all of the times from like O'Halloran and Bridewell, and I can't remember who else I got. And we put all the each race lap next to it, and you can like see where he's gone off a bit at the start and stuff, and then like his mid race. So you're talking tenths, but you can see where the differences come, and that's just experience.
Yeah,
3 races on. Well, 3 races on one of them things. It's hard work.
Did your weekend start how it ended? How was free practice?
Yeah, we proper just got the snowball effect from the wrong way. So, a bit of a blow by blow, but from the very first lap of free practice, we had an issue with the bike and spent the whole of free practice 1 riding around with that issue and trying to diagnose it and try and fix it. Oh, it was still rideable, and it was still like rideable within half a second of what you should be doing, but not ideal. And when you're not doing that, you're not thinking about what you should be thinking about, which is trying to improve the bike for the track. So we pretty much lost free practice 1. Free practice 2, midway through it, we finally got a fix on that. The very first time we threw a set of boots in it, I did a mint lap, like just straight out the bat, and I think I finished 4th or 5th, like from over the day. And I was like, well, flip, that's all right, considering we basically had no proper running. Qualified, went the wrong way in free practice 3, but that's all right because the wrong way is always the right way because you just know to go the other way.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean? No, I like it. Simple.
It's still progress.
Qualified 9th, which if I'd farted down the back straight, I would have been on the front row. Do you know what I mean? It's
that close.
It's that close. So, 9th is not ideal, but fuck, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then just got a shit start, which I never do. I've always been known for I always jump a row rather than this time I went back 2, like off the line. Nearly crashed at turn 2 because I just got caught up in the group and then broke down. So that was first race done. Race 2, I didn't have a great grid slot because of the poor first race and got took out on the 3rd lap. So then again, we've got no data, we've got no race run data, we've got a really bad grid position. And then the last race, all I had literally was 11th. And it's annoying because I was 11th and 6 seconds off the win. With 5 laps to go, I was 3 seconds off first. That's how close it is.
Yeah.
But that's a long way.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like I did the same. You know, you look through the race run, I'm like, well, my fastest lap was quicker than third place. But it's no good.
You're not there.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant, but it's not relevant. And then what hurt me was the last few laps because we didn't have that information about what was going to happen to the bike, and we didn't have a refined motorbike because we'd lost the whole weekend. Of course, we were in every session, we did every session, but there's a difference between doing and refining yourself and the bike to actually just fixing issues and doing stuff like that. So I don't think in any of our thoughts that we had that we were going to have such a difficult weekend. Even a bad weekend didn't look like how that looked.
Aye.
But you don't have to lose much in BSB, you know, like you don't. There was a few lads, you know, I think Lee Jackson probably went away not too impressed, not too happy, you know. Kawasaki in general struggled. Andrew Irwin probably didn't have as much of a good run as he wanted.
See that blow?
How close Kyle was.
Holy shit! Yeah. I didn't see it
down the back.
I didn't see it at the time, but you seen it, but not from that angle. Yeah. I seen it on Instagram the other day, and I was like, "Whoa!"
And I think actually the lack of testing threw up quite a different feeling as well. Actually, because normally you go into the first round of a BSB and you have done a lot of testing, and everyone knows pretty much who's going to be where, more or less. And actually, it was almost more relaxed. The whole thing felt very different.
Yeah, it did. Sorry.
And I know what you mean. It was interesting. And it did throw up some, not necessarily different stuff, you know. I think Glenn did what he probably was going to do. Tommy did what I think he was going to do. Kyle sort of did what he was going to do. Jason was there. Yeah. Maybe not as there as I thought he was going to be, but he was there.
I think he would have been, I thought he would have won one, to be honest.
I am impressed with the Paul Bird bikes, mine, because that's never been a Ducati track. But like going back to your comment, tarmac's tarmac, a racetrack's a racetrack. Mm. But why is the Ducati not very classed as not very good round Silverstone?
Because the last corner. It's pure and simply the last corner.
In what regard?
It doesn't pick up grip very well on angle. So if you have to accelerate from a low speed and continue to keep angle as you generate speed, it doesn't do that very well.
It just wants to spin constantly. Yeah.
Everything else, it's fantastic, but that is a super Achilles heel, but it's way better than it ever was. So
is that with your bike?
I don't remember the difference. Loads of people have asked me, how similar is your new bike to your old one? Don't know. I've ridden a Suzuki in between and a long time has happened. You know, I genuinely don't remember. It feels like a Ducati but flip. I'd have to back them to say what's what. But if you just take the last sector, which has never changed, which is the middle of the long right-hander that goes all the way and continues to be a right-hander that gets faster and faster until the finish line. You look at all the previous sectors from any Ducati riders like me, Josh, Tommy Bridewell on the previous Motorapido bike, and then look at them this year. Whatever they've done to the swing arms and maybe a little bit of chassis work and stuff has made a massive difference.
Can you put that down in numbers? Is it half a second? Is it
certainly not half a second?
But, no, you know what I mean.
But it needs to be a tenth.
It might be a tenth. It'd probably be a tenth and a half, but that is literally it. That is the difference.
Because when was the last time the Ducati won around Silverstone before Glenn? Glenn was the only Ducati winner around there, wasn't he? Is that right? Tommy was always on the Bride.
Tommy got 3 podiums.
Was always on the Bridewell. He was always.
Tommy got 3 podiums. Yeah, Glenn won the last one.
Yeah.
But obviously Glenn's got 4 around there because he won all 3 the year before.
That's
Oh yeah, he did. Forgetting that.
And he was half job.
So does that mean he's happy or sad?
In a real bad way.
Yeah, no. It's like I'm just going to ask the question. You know, you seeing what the Paul Bird bikes have done, is that giving you confidence, or is it like seeing what the bike can? You know, what the bike can do?
I know what the bike can do. It's just I'd rather not see it, but yeah.
No, which is no. You know what I mean? It's not like
100%. No, I know what it can do. I know why our weekend went.
Yeah.
I hope I know why our weekend went to pot, and hopefully we can put it right.
But on a total different note, you definitely had the best looking bike out there. That white and blue.
Ah, that was cool.
That was very cool. Like, had the full Alpine Stars kit to match, like the HJC helmet all painted up retro. The Oxford Products 50th anniversary. Yeah, it was mint. Cool. I wasn't particularly happy with running a different number.
The 50.
Oh yeah, I never even picked up on that.
I had 50 years.
I wasn't overly
joyed about
chuffed
that.
with that.
Well, there you go.
We have
to that. Put it down to that and move on.
Well, because they were like, right, so you're going
Mr.
to run this.
Bakewell
You're going to run this new. Well, exactly. So like a lot of my things went out the window. So like you're going to run this new livery, right? Okay. So, but I can't really run my kit before I race in it because people can't see it.
Oh shit, yeah.
But then, okay,
Going around schoolhouse and motocross
maybe I'll go and do it in qualifying. But I really don't. I've got one set of it. I really don't want to have to go and like go absolutely balls out with brand new stuff on, like to bed it in.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that. So it's literally you sit on the grid in new kit. I don't think I've ever done that before in my life.
Oh.
Yeah. I just felt horrible.
And then so I get to turn 2 at Silverstone and literally get pincered and like both legs off. I'm like going, oh fuck, that lasted long. Managed to keep on it and then break down. And then obviously it was so shit because we had all the big brass of Oxford products that sponsor the team and everything. Like basically watching their bike not finish the race. Or I finished last, which is probably worse.
I tell you what.
But you kept going.
Yeah, but when you came back onto the track, because I seen you slowing down, so I'm hanging my head out the wall watching, and when it fired back up and you fucking jumped over the curve coming back on, I was like, oh, he's off. I thought you'd gone down, like jumped and stepped right out. I was like, holy shit.
So yeah, finished absolutely stone last, and then they're like, right, okay, so that didn't really work out. We're going to run it again tomorrow because the plan was only ever to run it once, run it one race and then, but then obviously they were like, no, we need to get a bit more publicity out of this.
Yeah, do it again.
So I lasted 3 laps.
What do you mean you got them going? The camera on you all the way down the outside of the start and finish straight. Want more publicity than the one.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair,
slow-mo as well.
Yeah. I know we're kind of picking on you at the moment, but the bike by itself, it just sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? Because I watched that race and it was just like, because by the time we got it going again, now a lot of people would have just gone, balls to this. Fair play to your mind. You know what I mean? Just keep going.
You need to do a lap time for the next race, don't you?
Well, it was a bit late in the day for that because the tyre was already shot because it was like 6 laps to go. But yeah,
a lot of people would
I
have
think you just never know. And you do need to keep gathering data. Maybe it's going to switch off again. So
you need to know what it is.
You need to know what it is.
Not a lot of riders
at
do
that point,
that.
At that point, I'm on my own, so it's safer for it to switch off.
And if you've got all the bosses there that are paying the bills, you've got to keep the bike spinning, haven't you?
That's it.
Just keep doing.
I just don't think you should ever pull in. Really, I think it's just a no go.
That's good, mate. Hey, they are.
Obviously, if you're going to be a danger to someone on track, then yes. But apart from that, I don't think you should pull in.
I tell you what, I saw your young'un in there, Nicola, going up the paddock. She goes, "These were in a cupboard for 50 years, because they weren't like
they brought out these old tops, but they were literally like
they were
25 years. They were
proper 50-year-old tops.
No, they're 25. They were from the 25th anniversary, and then they were rolled them back out 25 years later. So
that is class. That is class, isn't it?
No, they were mint. They were immaculate. Yeah, it was pretty trick.
But go on then. Who's your hot and not then?
I'm gonna say Jack because
corporate.
He did. It's not corporate. Yeah, Jack because I just think he had a mega first weekend and really needed. Can't you kind of say anything against Kyle? Won a race. Don't know what happened to him in the third race. Just went back.
He went from first to 7th to 9th.
Yeah,
I might be making. I'm looking at you, lads.
When you look at his race run from the first race, when he almost like went flat out with the tyre all the way through the race, and obviously had still performance at the end. And then in the third race, when he had his worst result, he almost like nursed the tyre for the first half of the race.
I did speak to him the other day, and he did have a bit of an issue with it, with the tyre, but not because of the tyre. I think there was something was a little bit irregular. In the final race.
I tell you
because a lot of the time Kyle's struggled with fitness and he's put some effort in.
Yeah, you were saying before.
He's a different bloke this year.
He done some laps and testing as well. Fast laps,
different lad this year.
Yeah. He'd never strike you as a person that seemed unfit on a motorcycle. That's interesting, mate.
No, last year he was more than happy to admit it. Every third race, he would just fade, and he was. He's not the sort of person that would hide it.
With what in particular? Because he loves his cycling, doesn't he? What, he was just knackered, just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, he enjoys his cycling now. He didn't really.
Right.
He enjoys snooker and Tinder.
Yeah. You can get fit doing the second one, can't you?
It depends.
Depends who's putting the graph.
I reckon he's had plenty practice.
Fluffing? No, not fluffing.
No, so yeah, he's put a lot of effort in, fair play to him.
And Danny Kent.
Well impressive.
Is that your hot?
Yeah.
Is that your hot?
No, I'm claiming Danny.
I bet you to it, bollocks to you.
I've done it again. Sorry.
If I could punch him with this arm, I would.
Who else? Who had a good?
Just like you, Joe. Wow.
But
Actually, one
just
thing-
going back to the Danny Kent thing, sorry, that's
That's
a full privateer job again, isn't it?
Yeah. He's
and-
got some good lads in the garage and that, but fair play to him.
He's got to put it all together himself, hasn't he? And
Yeah.
well,
Well,
obviously
funny
not
enough,
himself,
the garage stuff's all Chrissy's stuff.
is it?
It's all theirs. They bought.
Did he
all
buy that off Gabriel? Did he?
I bought all that stuff. Because
Right.
so it's gone to another privateer team.
Well, fair
Which are-
play to
which are doing
him.
the
Fair play
business.
to him. You know, we know from Chrissy how hard it is to go and do that, and
Yeah.
you know, it's
It's a slightly different setup. 'Cause
Yes.
he's fortunate in the fact that he's got one big sponsor.
Yeah. He's got some budget.
Yeah, he's got some budget behind him.
But yes, he
But
is
the
still a
essence is
privateer.
still there.
Yeah.
In essence,
Yeah,
he's
he's
the
tipped
same.
up on his Honda
He's
and
the
he's
same.
gone
you've
for it.
still
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
same
yeah.
challenges of
Yeah, you
getting
have.
the right stuff from the right people,
Yeah,
getting it
yeah,
all
yeah.
set
They still
up.
need organising and even down to the lads going for the lunch. Like
Yeah.
they need to eat and stuff. There's lots of organising. I mean, you've got Ian who works for you. He does like a lot of that stuff, doesn't he? And like you can see that it runs really smoothly, and that people probably don't think about that sort of stuff. But like every back washing up liquid for the lorry,
yeah.
like he was doing.
But he was just sort of
there's
chipping
lots
away
goes
on it
into
over the weekend, just chipping away, and then
The thing that was impressive with Danny is he's generally in his BSB time needed someone in sight to do his laps.
chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was doing, even in Spain, he was doing a lot of stuff on his own. And when you sort of see that, you sort of have half an idea that actually he feels comfy.
But you wonder as well if he's in that environment again where there are no expectations, because he hasn't signed a big contract with a big team where. Oh, fuck
He's
you,
certainly
I've
surrounded by
signed for-
family, isn't he? It's these
So I'm
brothers in
surrounded
there
by
racing.
His
people
brother's
there.
racing
His brother's
as well,
racing
isn't
in the
he?
Stock
Stock
Kieran.
600, yeah.
Is it Stock 6?
Stock 600,
Stock
yeah.
6.
Yeah, Kieran Kent. That's right, yeah.
It's a very different environment to be in, isn't it? So, you know, you've got
definitely.
a happy rider, haven't you?
He was impressive. Anyone, like...
Oh, they're all.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Vickers, was he a top 10? He had a broken scaphoid.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah.
He just had it done,
He
hadn't he?
just had a screw put in. But that's impressive.
And the
But
mate-
it's stuff you don't think about, do you?
Yeah.
You don't know.
And they're in
So would you
Superbike
class him as hot or not on the first round? Because I actually think...
I can't judge him because I don't think he's had a fair crack at
yeah,
it, but
fair play.
I wouldn't put him in there. I think disappointments for me would have been O'Halloran. Now, he'd probably punch you if you heard you say that, but I would have I don't know if I just thought, in my mind, I thought
He's going to set his stall
he would
out.
start out being... The Yamaha's good there as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the Yamaha's good. And I thought, yeah, he might
He's
have
always
won a one.
He's been a front runner, like, you know, in that kind of
Yeah.
who's going to go well straight
Yeah,
out the
he's still
box. He's
finishing fourth,
always
like.
going to be in that camp, isn't he?
Yeah.
You don't know if he just decided to have a little bit of a change of tack where
It's a long season, isn't it?
it's a very long season.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
rather than
Different.
risking
He's
anything,
basically
just,
had 3 years where he's won everything until
But it's
the
a
last
different
3
type
rounds.
of season
yeah,
now as well, isn't it? It's not a showdown in the traditional format. It's
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about the showdown as being traditional. Normally, how we had that? But yeah, it's a totally different. I can't even remember what the points thing is now, but it's not the same. It's very
No.
different. Like double points here and there, and when you get to the end of the year, and all
basically
that.
it ramps up.
Yeah.
So you get to the end of the year, you win more points.
So it's not. Yeah, that's different as well. So that might change people's approach. But I thought I would have had him down before the weekend certainly for like a rostrum. I don't know really who else you would say.
What about your not, Joe?
How? In what sense?
You had your hot, who is Danny Kent,
Yeah.
who was your not
What that I'm disappointed
yeah,
didn't
gutted
achieve
for,
what
gutted
they
for,
did.
yeah.
Well, not including me.
Damn it,
We've covered that.
Yeah.
Mine was him.
Probably Lee Jackson,
Yeah,
But they
because
changed.
he ended the season so strongly last year, and I know they've gone to that other swing arm, haven't they? Which
Well, that's what.
just,
Yeah,
he
that could have
hasn't
been it,
gelled
though,
with,
couldn't
and
it?
I don't know. I just felt bad for the lad really, because I think we all know he's capable of
100%,
better than that,
100%,
and we
yeah.
all expected to see him at the pointy end, and he wasn't through no real fault of his own kind of thing. You know, it's just one of them, and I'm
not
sure,
worried.
like you've gone away and you boys have worked on it, haven't you? I'm sure that's going on.
They'll
with,
be doing
with,
the same,
with them,
yeah.
but yeah, it was sort of. It's not disappointing the right word, but you know, you just think, fuck. We
Yeah.
sort of expected
you would
and
like
thought,
this,
you know,
yeah, definitely.
nice lad. So yeah, that would have been my not.
Indeed. And I've got my answer. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Franco Bourne.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
yes, yeah.
Stock.
Absolute
To be
weapon.
fair, how he wasn't rider of the weekend.
Thank you, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
I was actually really disappointed when I saw not because it's Josh Brooks, but anyone but Franco Bourne without having that. Like, I mean,
even Josh Brooks would have turned around and gone, give it a Franco Bourne.
Right, okay, so let's not just first run on a stock 1000 in full race trim, right? So last year he finished second to Max Cook in the stock 600.
Yeah. On a 636.
Who was a worthy champion?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very.
So Max has gone up to Superbike as Lee's teammate. And yeah, I always try and watch the other classes and stuff, and I was like,
Who's this kid?
But then you look at the lap times, you go, you know, like,
wouldn't he have been 13th in the Superbike?
So my best lap in the last race was what lap times were they? 50 something.
I can't even remember now.
Whatever it was a something
53s, 52s.
Okay, so 53.58 was my quickest. Dan Linfoot's quickest in super stock was less than a tenth slower than mine.
He got a new lap record, didn't he?
Yeah.
But Linfoot got the lap record.
Yeah, class lap record.
But the one thing that we haven't discussed since, we haven't, like I said at the beginning of the show, we haven't been together in a long time. They have brought in slicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
in Super Sport. And also, you were telling me that you can have that in blipper down systems, but we're not going to talk about that.
So we saw lap records in Super Stock, Super Sport.
Yeah.
Don't think we saw one in Superbike, actually.
No.
Don't think we did.
No, we didn't know.
Not a lot changed, I suppose.
But like you say, when you're talking about a 10th, is that because of
the
slips?
I did 53.58 and Dan did 53.62 or something. It's less than a tenth.
Bloody hell.
Outstanding.
So then they sort of get to the point where, I don't know if anyone's... Wonder people look that closely, but then, like, if you're a Superbike team thinking, why do I spend all this money again?
Well, that's half the issue,
isn't it? You know, it's...
But then they go to Alton Park test the week after. And then... I wasn't there, but they're like 3 seconds off.
Yeah.
And that then brings in the whole, it's not an accurate representation of what the
So then you go, what is it? And what is it? And then, so I would assume again, well, I'm just going straight back to the last sector. So if you look at Dan Linfoot's last sector, it was like 0.3 quicker than anything I did all weekend.
Really?
Getting grip down, getting the drive down.
Getting grip down.
Jesus.
But then...
Because you've got electronics.
Yeah. And it hasn't got the same power.
It's a track where you're fighting for grip. And it's a track where the bigger brakes don't make a massive difference. You know, all the stuff that you've got.
It's mad, but
you've got a bike that's 150 grand or whatever compared to a bike that's 35 grand. They're a bit
and
more than that. But you know, like, mine's an animal. Yeah. Not that Dan's isn't, or Franco's, but they're different.
So what was your best position of the weekend?
What, in racing?
Was 11th. It 11th? Yeah. So where was Andrew Irwin on the 1000 Fireblade? Superbike Fireblade.
He was in that battle for the
last race. He was good. Yeah, his last race he was good, but it blew up the last race.
Well, the top 10 were covered by like.
My lap in the last race was as good as third. So basically, Dan Linfoot's lap was as good as.
That's what I mean. But
whatever. Is what I'm saying.
It's just interesting, because when you're talking about them kind of lap speeds, and you're thinking, well, you've got the Superbike Honda. And then the stock Honda doing the that
basically Andrew compared to Dan would be very comparable.
Yeah. Do you know what would have been really interesting is if Tom Neve had won the stock championship and done that year on slicks.
I wonder what that would have been. Yeah.
And then to know what his lap time was on slicks. And this is that bike. And this is
completely the weird thing about it though, because like you go right, Davey Todd had he one of my knots for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
really struggled. I don't know why, and I like Davey a lot, so hopefully he'll like sort that out. But like he won stock 1000 last year, and he probably wouldn't have finished in the top 5 on his Superbike. In stock 1000, I don't think, on his lap times. I've not had a proper look. It might be unfair to him, but you know, like, given what he was off, I think he wouldn't have been.
And when you look at Dan's times against Davey and Tom,
if you say right, let's take Dan's bike or Franco Bourne's bike, or
Franco was on a Honda as well,
on a prop that is a privateer bike. That's the Bainbridge board.
So you go, well, just put a set of forks in that, and you'll get half a tenth, and then just put a set of wheels in it, and you'll have another half a tenth.
And a different shock in it.
But then it doesn't happen.
Then take all the electronics off.
Take the electronics off it.
I mean, it's a weird one. How much of the electronics are they actually relying on that stocker? Because they'll have it turned down to almost
the Honda one. The Honda kit stuff's like meant to be unbelievable.
Is it?
Like really good?
But then it's
meant people love it.
We can go back. Let's go back to the Navara test. I think Kyle Ride was like point something off.
World Superbike lap record.
Superbike lap record, and that was Scott Redden on the Ducati. with every bell and whistle on it. You just think, how?
Yeah, but
this
I don't know
sport is
how
such
many
a-
Weetabix he was having for breakfast in Spain.
He was
like,
just doing fucking mad
Was
stuff on it, yeah. Like,
Stayed on it and it
I know,
worked. You
yeah,
know what I
he
mean?
did,
It's
yeah.
mental, though, isn't it?
Can we change direction a little bit? Can you tell us about this BMW Cup?
oh yeah.
Because that's
Oh,
been long awaited, been loads of publicity around it. Obviously, Richie Cooper's in there, Michael Rutter, yourself.
big prize money.
Big prize money. There's a big prize at the end of it, isn't there?
there.
Is there?
He's
Don't you
I
win
see
it? Don't you win
You get-
M1000?
you win an S1000
S1000
You might as well give that to Richard Cooper now.
It's still 30 grand's worth of bike. It's a lot of bread.
Absolutely.
Before we like
Plus the prize
on
money.
that, can we touch on first? I was watching the MotoGP the other day, and Neil Hodgson. It was quite funny because he was talking about the BMW Cup and about
Good.
Michael Rutter doing it and etc. Because it was like an FP1, FP2 sort of
Oh,
chat,
right,
you know,
okay.
like, and it was
Yeah.
it was interesting. And he was going on about he was going, and you can win £1,000, but he was doing very sarcastically, and it's right because he was going, you can win it. He went, great, maybe after you've paid all your flipping entries and your tyres and everything else, you can be down £2,000, you know, like.
Yeah.
No, but in the same
And it's
breath-
true. Everyone's getting excited about the BMW Cup because of prize money.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
but
only
no, but
because there isn't prize money like that.
And it's because
anywhere
there
else.
isn't prize
Yeah.
money anywhere else. And actually, he had a good point. So, yeah, that's a side note.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting how someone from a different era, where they used to get
Big money.
massive
Yeah,
prize
yeah.
money,
Yeah.
is actually belittling. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's belittling it, I think, quite rightly.
Yeah.
Making not belittling, but making a point.
Because
And
to
I
be
think
clear,
quite right.
you boys in Superbike get zero prize money,
We get zero prize money.
which I think is
I think if you win Super Sport,
Very,
you maybe
very
get a grand a win or something, don't you? And
You only
the
get
sport has changed.
super money in Super Sport for the Sunday race, and it's not £1,000. I think it's at 800 quid or something like that.
But I totally understand your point, though. It's like the game has
to me, it was
changed
just
that much.
interesting. It was interesting because Neil Hodgson was saying it. Someone who's been in an era that's
Made a lot of
not
money
even
out of
that long ago,
yeah.
but would have made
Well, within the last 20 years. But when did he win the World Super?
20 years
20
ago.
years ago,
There was
'cause
a
it was
video
on-
the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
With
Who's
his
the
vest
daddy?
on, who's
Yeah.
the daddy? Yeah.
Oh,
On that
yeah,
field at Ducati, yeah.
But the mat like that. With me,
I found that interesting.
Chrissy always brought it up. It was like since cigarettes left the game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
isn't it? You know what I mean?
Cigarettes and alcohol, yeah.
Well, it is so, isn't it? You know what I mean?
There's a lot of beers kicking about now, isn't there?
Beer Monster.
Non-alcoholic beers. You've got a beer company in the F900 Cup.
ABK. That's
Yeah,
the
but
Rocket,
they're
part of Rocket.
But
branding.
that's who's put
Oh,
the
is it
prize
really?
fund up.
Yeah,
What's Rocket then?
it's an umbrella firm for lots of other little companies.
Right.
Or not little, but
Got you.
other companies.
Hey,
That's a-
did anyone
that's a
see
Google
Leon
search
Haslam
for
going
later.
on to the BMW?
Anyway, ignore that. Let's not go too far off what you did.
Yeah, Dom.
Because I already went off it.
Yeah, where to begin? Where to begin? You know what?
Are they fun?
They're great.
Even around Silverstone.
The thing is, you know what it was. I think I know I was like engraved the trophy now. Richard Cooper is going to win the championship. There's no two ways
Oh,
about
Dom,
that.
I hate when you say that. I just
Would
don't
it-
like when you
okay,
say that.
okay, the other co-host, would you like to?
might not.
Look,
He
come
wasn't
on.
20 seconds up the road, Dom.
Thomas Strudwick
no,
was in the
no,
race.
no, but
It
you see,
was
but
a last minute entry that I didn't know about.
Which
He's
is
a doer.
Which is fantastic. You know, the thing is, who was I talking to about this the other day?
Right.
Here we go.
Well, I'm going to have a Cooper talk here. Because I've heard a lot of things that are saying he shouldn't be in it, and this, that, and the other. And I've heard a few, not many, the other way, going, he can do what he wants. It's a race series,
Yeah.
and he can do what he wants.
I'm of that opinion.
Right. So we can do our opinion. So my one is that it's designed. People have said it's designed to be a championship for those that aren't doing the other classes, etc., etc., or maybe even a feeder class, right? But in a feeder class, you need someone to gauge against. So, right, let's say, for example, and I'm not taking it because he's not a good rider, but let's say if you were an up-and-comer and you think, right, all I can afford is the BMW Cup, and you go and you beat Tom Tunstall, shall we say, nobody's going to look at you. And that's no disrespect to Tom Tunstall, right? However, if you're someone and you get to go in that class, and because that's the class you've chosen, because that's what you can afford and that's what you can do, and you go and wipe the floor with Richard Cooper, different story.
100% agree.
So actually, it has its benefits. Yes, there's every chance you're probably not going to win it because there's someone super talented in there, but he's a great benchmark. And if you do beat him, actually, it makes it a better feeder class because someone will look at you. Whereas otherwise, it's definitely not a feeder class. It's just a class.
I tell you
That's
what,
my opinion.
No, I totally agree. The thing is, a lot of people have stipulated where what it's meant to be. It actually hasn't been written down.
What is it meant to be? Yeah.
No one is.
It's a race class.
It's
whatever you want it to be.
It is. It's a supported series. Now, and I brought this up earlier. There's only 2 major classes on the BSB calendar: BSB and British Supersport. Stock 1000 is a support class. Moto 3, everything, the Talent Cup is a support class. Everything's a support class. This is actually labelled as a support class. So they haven't actually put any stipulations or rules of who can and can't enter.
There's only ever used to be 3 British championships. So if you win Stock 1000, you're technically not a British champion. You're a national champion.
Yeah.
So is it Moto 3 as well then?
Well, it used to be 1, 2, 5, Moto 3, but I don't know if the British Talent Cup now replaces that. I'm assuming it does, yeah.
But you wouldn't, speaking in a room full of racers, you wouldn't class that as a British title, would you?
One class what?
British Talent Cup.
I would if I won it.
The British Talent Cup you would, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you would, because it is a British championship. It's not a national championship, but it always used to be those were the 3 classes. Let's face it, everything to Superbike is a support class.
Yeah,
Superbike's the main event, but if you win Stock 1000, you're British champion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Technically agree. 100% agree.
But yeah, but with regards to the F900 Cup, whatever it's called, that was my thought process on shouldn't he be in it. I don't know.
Totally agree.
But if you beat him, that's great for the person that beats him. If anyone beats him. If you went out there and started handing it to Richard, you would get people looking at you even more seriously.
It elevates the whole class, in my opinion. That's why it's good.
Oh no! If we're going to use an example,
and most of the people that are sort of like upset because he's in because they're not going to win it weren't going to win it anyway.
Yeah. Which was my point on the internet, which started a massive fight.
You know, the guy
the
guy in 12 who's moaning because he can't win it because Coops is going to win it needs to moan about the other 11 because it's a bit of an issue.
I couldn't agree more. But you
10.
see, the fact, like,
I'm not very good at maths.
Like Strudwick's in it.
You know what I mean?
But you see, there's I really like this. Is the thing. I hope people have seen Cooper in it, Strudwick in it, and Rutter in it, and gone, actually, I want a bit of that. Because there's a lot of people on the sidelines with a huge talent who can't afford to go racing, even Stock 600 or anything like that. And you think, well, now that the bar doors have been opened, hopefully that invites more people in.
I don't think you're being fair on yourself as well, though, because you were boxing with them, weren't you?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
so, you need to give yourself some credit as well, mate.
I was 0.3, but and I've told...
I was 0.3.
Fucking won't take it, will I?
No, but...
I'm giving you a compliment, mate.
No, but the thing, Chrissy, when this got announced, funny enough, Chrissy talked me into doing it. Chrissy was actually very abrupt, and we all know Chrissy, and he wasn't, he just let you make your decisions and he would support you with those. But he was very, very abrupt with this, and he goes, you need to do that. And I'm like, no, I want to focus on the TT. And he's going, why aren't you doing it? I can't afford to. And bearing in mind, he's running his own Superbike team. And it's just...
He's just proved you kept as a win.
Well, no, you know what? He's like, what are you on about? He's equated because he can only use 4 tyres a weekend in the dry.
All right.
4 sets.
4 tyres?
4 tyres.
Oh, so 2 fronts, 2 rears.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
That's
or one front 3 rear. Could you do one front 3 rears?
Oh,
3 rears?
I'm massively messed up.
I didn't know that. I didn't realise that. I thought it was 2 sets.
No.
I actually thought it was 4 sets, but...
Yeah, 4 sets. No, but you can only use 4 tyres a weekend.
So it's the same
4 stickers.
Yeah.
4 stickers. I messed up, mate, for my first one. Because I went out for qualifying and read I was like, oh crap, I've got to have a sticker on. That tyre
Oh, you did a sticker one twice.
Oh, no. That front tyre did the Donington test, the Silverstone test. And then...
So
then you put a sticker on
one of your allocations
on a used tyre.
On a used tyre?
Dope.
Is that the same for wets as well, then?
No,
you don't put
stickers on
You don't
wets.
put stickers on wets, but it's on that side of things. But Chrissy worked it out. I think the price has gone up a little bit since then, but Chrissy worked it out with as he did, and within seconds, he worked it out with just over $5,500 for the year in tyres, which is still an obscene amount of money. But when you think Chrissy...
that's actually better than I thought. I thought it'd be more like 8.
Chrissy worked it out. I think he was spending, I'm looking at Grace here on the side, she may not know either, but I think he was spending $4 or $5 in tyres alone.
A weekend.
Superbikes.
Oh,
is that
I don't know exactly, but
I don't know.
Roughly, you know what I mean?
But we have
Thankfully, I don't pay the bills.
No, yeah, we have 7 sets of rims.
Yeah,
in constant use.
So
there is never a set of rims without a tyre on. If it doesn't rain, you don't use wets. But
there we are. But when you, but that's the difference. You know what I mean? When you put that tire like side of it, but like Chrissy was just like, you need to do that, and I'm very, very grateful that Coops is in it, Strudwick's in it, and I hope more come.
Nicky Coates, he was a hot enough. He was
Nicky Coates was on it. Same with his jump starts.
He wasn't very hot adhering to the black flag, though, was he?
I tell you what, you could tell his dad, Ernie Coates, runs like all the support in the Irish racing. He could like Nicky. He hasn't been racing. He's like he's like you, man. He's like the oldest, youngest retired lad who's ever been in racing.
He's done a lot over the years, and then has been riding on track days, hasn't he? So his track days are excellent. They come round with beers and that at the end of the day.
That's me. Like,
great crack.
But he's in it. But I tell you what, that jump start was a typical Northern Irish jump start. It was just typical stuff like, I'll get away with this back at home. If you turn on, Cookstown is running as we speak. You turn that on when it's on the telly. You watch a start and it's just like everyone just rolls. And if you're an English rider, you'd be like, where's everyone going? And like everyone's rolled a row forward, then the flag goes. You've raced in Irish roads.
No, I haven't, but I've seen plenty of it.
Oh, you just not a single penalty, no nothing. It's like you have to go for it. I think Nicky was still on that page, but even so, Nicky was massively in the fight.
He was strong. Yeah, I sort of thought he'd be thereabouts, but I don't know what I thought, but I was surprised when I seen it.
But like,
if that makes sense.
But like Chrissy, like even going back, like what Chrissy was saying, it was like, look, you need to do that to learn a skill set and like keep
yourself
faster.
sharp for the
keep yourself sharp, and it'll keep you safer on the roads. And totally agree on that.
I do think that class has opened up the possibility of racing within the BSB paddock to a whole new world of people.
100%.
Like I went and had a wander around that part of the paddock, and it's very different to other parts of the paddock, and I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's a bit club-esque. It feels a bit
very club-esque, but I mean that in a nice way. I mean that in a nice way.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, people at that, the lower end budget, which we're at, you have to step up your game.
Yeah.
And even going back, like what I'm grateful for having them fast lads in is it is going to drag the pack on, but it's going to be, for me, we were just talking about Silverstone. The next round is going to be even more interesting because Alton Park, there's a lot more dirty secrets. There's a lot more hidden time. Silverstone, you can get in that toe, you can like learn very, very quickly in that regard. But you get someone of the caliber of, I don't know how much Strudwick's done around. He's been in Spain
for a while, but he has raced at all the tracks.
But then not as fresh as Cooper, for example.
No,
but it's they're going to be the.
I don't think that.
I personally think Alton Park's going to open up.
I bet it's mint around one of their.
The bikes are mint. I think if you want to get racing in the British paddock, it is the perfect way of doing it, 100%. But I think when we get to Alton Park, I'm not sure if that that Moto3 racing's going to change. I hope it does.
I think they like Moto3s. I rode one at Brands last year, and it's like a heavy Moto3 with straight bars on it.
Yeah,
real fine window.
Anything that's underpowered is going to generate racing. That's
but the thing
it's like a posh CB500.
Yeah.
That's exactly that is 100%. Exactly the right way of putting it.
And to be fair, the way you've put your point of why you think that Cooper being in there is a good thing,
100%,
is very, very valid, and it's made me look at it slightly differently. So I appreciate that, because I was on the bandwagon of, I don't think it's really a sensible fit. But then they've got to do it to make it like a credible championship, because otherwise they get a grid full of club races, don't they? So they've got to do it. It's still the British Championship, and Stuart Higgs and his team have worked really hard to produce a championship that's a successful business as well and taken seriously. And they can't have a support class that looks like.
No, exactly that.
So that side of it. But then on the flip side, the argument against it, and unfortunately, poor Coops is the one that gets a stick for it.
Yeah, he's had a lot of sticks.
And I don't think it's fair to give him the shit, because he's not the one. It's not. This isn't Cooper's fault, is it?
No, he's just collecting the checks at the end of the day.
But wouldn't you? If you'd got a chimp and a mortgage, and you're thinking, of course I've had a horrible crash, I've snapped both my legs.
He's just enjoying his racing.
And come back. I think he's well
justified. There's no law against doing that.
No, not at all. But the thing is, if it wasn't Coops, it would be someone else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not
an opportunity.
It's about Troy Corsa doing one.
That'd be good.
That would be really cool. That would.
Shit? I don't know. If
I hadn't heard that. That'd be cool.
I'd heard that was that he was going to do.
It'd be good if they brought back like a legends class with like Corsair and get
we've got Chris Walker back racing again.
Walkers back
in Worlds.
In World Endurance.
Get Neil Mackenzie back out.
In the Worlds.
No, but the thing
He'll
is,
do it for £1 or £2.
But you never saw one of them screaming
Fish
to
and
have a
chips
go
in
at
the
try
fire.
options. Did
No,
you?
true. Yeah.
No.
You didn't see
Well,
a single.
Stalker
You know what I
did.
mean. Aye, but I tell you what,
he
that
did.
was the
You
most
know-
iconic moment in British racing.
And the Guinness
That
did
really
a good
is-
race.
yeah.
Well, they won
Guinness
two,
were
weren't they?
first
Yeah.
and second,
That
yeah.
You know what? I
Unreal.
think I think it's great. I love the class. I think the bikes are mint to ride. I'm a big fan of the class. Cooper being in it elevates the whole championship for everyone. And people say, I think what annoyed a lot of people, so people that I talk to about it say it wasn't sold or positioned as a class like that. Actually, that's not true. It wasn't sold or positioned as anything.
No, it wasn't. You're
Oh
right.
no,
And it's not a feeder class. It could be, but it's not, because Stock 600's a feeder class. You win Stock 600 or you're in the top 3, you've got to move out of it. And if you go out of... I couldn't go back to Stock 600 because I'd scored a point in a Supersport race. That was it. You can't go back in. So that's a feeder class.
Yeah.
This is not. This is a championship on a totally different type of bike that for less money could allow a really young lad to show his talent, or girl, show the talent in front of like people with the opportunity to do something, but also lets the bloke who's in his 50s who's got a bit of cash wants to go racing at
Or
good
woman.
level. Or woman, sorry.
I tell,
Or anything, whatever else you've got.
Yeah, you got to be careful now, haven't you?
But I tell you what, the thing is, right, it's definitely highlighted that people read what they want to read,
Yep.
don't they?
Yeah.
You know, people pick, and that's in social media and journalism and anything. People pick the bits they want out of it and make something out of it. Because nothing is being highlighted as this. And you know what? If it was, you wouldn't have superbike riders in the class.
How many?
You know what I mean?
How many riders have come through one make series? Okay, the R6 Cup was a slightly different thing because you paid your money and the bike was there and everything. But there's been the R1 Cup, the R6 Cup, the Triumph
If you
Triple
take
Challenge.
the riders from the R6 Cup alone, like
Oh,
some
that
doers.
was some
Yeah,
racing. That
like-
wasn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but the riders,
have
I mean-
gone on to do
Yeah.
big things, haven't they? Like Billy. Did you do
I didn't
R6
do it.
Cup?
No, that was before me.
Yeah.
But like,
There was like
well,
lots-
Cal
Cal
did
say,
it.
didn't Cal do it?
Yeah.
Cal did it,
Yeah.
and
Hopefully that
Tommy
this
Hill
BM
did it.
turns
yeah,
into
Tommy Hill, yeah.
or was it? Maybe he did the R1 Cup. That
No, Tommy
No, he
Hill
did
did it.
the-
He
he
beat
did
Cal
the R6
Crutchlow
Cup,
that year, didn't he? And got
Did
then he got the
Adam Jenkinson.
Jenko,
He was good, wasn't he?
Billy McConnell.
Billy. Pesky.
There's a lot. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is, there's been that. There's the Harley Davidson thing. I mean, did anyone think the Harley Davidson thing was a feeder class? No, but it was fucking great to watch.
Yeah.
Like Jeremy Williams rode in it, and like loads of like Mike
Oh,
Edwards
that
and all
was-
that.
He's still
He's-
doing Harley class now in America, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's some
He's
boy,
still at
isn't he?
it.
He's
Some
Just put a
bag
zero on
thing,
the end
yeah.
of the paycheck,
He's
can't
still
it?
at it.
It's the way to
I
do
think
it.
they look cool. I mean, they're heavy. They look heavy, but
They look
They're
class.
Have you seen when they
mint.
crash? They look
No,
even
but see,
heavier, don't they? They just obliterate
they've got like
themselves.
like forks
Well,
in them and stuff.
so
you know?
that's the problem with those sort of classes. That started out cool. So that baggers thing, right? That started out as like,
It was a bit of a joke.
let's have a
wasn't
bit
it?
of a joke, right?
Yeah.
They are worth more than the superbikes now.
Big, yeah.
Like they
Shut
are
up, man.
That's America
100%.
all over that, though.
Do you know what I was going to ask
And the
you?
prize money is ridiculous. So the baggers,
£3.50.
the $3.48 for 14. No, but seriously, like the money for the baggers is insane, and the bikes genuinely cost more than the superbikes. So what starts out as good fun
Gets expensive.
gets
doesn't it?
expensive, and it also
Super
gets
twin
stupid
racing.
But I
because
was
the
gonna
trouble is, like they're now going like 12 seconds a lap faster than they were 2 years ago. But the bikes are just as heavy,
Yeah.
so it actually gets a bit daft.
Yeah. Oh, if one of them
Do you know what I
landed
mean?
on you, you'd know
And have you
about
seen
it.
that some of the
serious.
crashes are like, but they're bad crashes in the way in which they let
mental.
go, the point at which they let go.
You see
They're
them like the
messy.
front's going for days,
Yeah.
and then they're like, it's just like you're on a sailing
So
boat.
I think they were cooler when it was just literally like,
Yeah.
I've got a bagger, let's just go and have a play.
How long do you think that BMW Cup's going to be before somebody starts doing something they shouldn't?
I don't think you can. What can you do?
But one make series where they take their own bike home.
Yeah. But
This is
I
motorbike
don't know
racing.
subscribe
This is
to that though, because I hate when people say they're cheating, they're doing this, their bike, and you go and look at their bike, and people who've been around racing long enough, you go, that bike's prepared.
It's just
mint.
prepared
We
well,
go to
yeah.
Dom's house, and Dom's like fettling, making things because you realise a couple of things didn't quite work, and you'd made the mudguard work and all this stuff. Like people who put time and effort into the bikes generally have better bikes.
No, but
How are they
they're not
controlling
cheating.
it all, though?
Oh no, but the way it's controlled in an engine way, is they're not sealing them or anything like that, but Steve Plater has a controlled ECU, and he keeps that ECU for the entire year. So when at the end of the race they select random bikes, pull them up onto the dyno, power run it. If it's not reading the right figures within the ballpark, they'll put Steve's on, and if it goes off from there,
You've done something.
You've done something to it. Now, that's a great way of doing it. But you know what's interesting is race bikes, especially when you buy race bikes in this country and across the world, don't actually sell a lot. You know, people aren't buying Fireblades, people aren't buying Ducati V4s, you know, people aren't doing that kind of element of it. But people are buying touring bikes. Now, when you start building touring bikes, the quality of engine goes down in the manufacturing. I'm not talking about shit, but you've got less power, bigger tolerances, you know what I mean? Your springs and your valve settings are totally different. So what's going to be interesting about this championship is, and the part of the going back to the Cooper thing very briefly, is it wasn't like Connor Cummins winning superbikes, you know, 6'6", whatever he is. And, you know, we're talking about the weight, power to weight ratio on it as well. Now, with a touring bike, every engine has a massive tolerance difference within themselves. So you're going to get a good engine and a bad engine. There's an excuse for Dominic Herbertson part 1. But what was interesting, when you talk about like the Boxer Cup, now, traditionally, especially in our game, even in motocross and everything, the newer the engine, the better. Everything's tighter, the tolerance is smaller, and you produce more power with the combustion. But with touring, you want to free everything up. So lap times are going to get stronger and bikes are going to get freer and freer and freer. So this is my theory. Rutter, argumentally, being the heavier lad out of Strudwick and Coops, is on the faster bike. If you look at the speed trap times, right, you know the lads who were down in 14th, 15th, 16th were doing 7 mile an hour quicker down the straights. Name me one rider there that was coming out the corner harder than Richard Cooper. Let me answer that. None of them. It's, you know what, that's the argument. But Cooper's bike was 2 mile an hour quicker than mine, which is to be expected when you think corner entry, corner mid-speed, corner exit. And he's 8 stone lighter than us, because I'm a fat bastard. But, you know, when you talk about those figures, and that's going to be interesting in itself. And I think, you know, that tolerance is going to be so hard to control, but make it better in the long run. Now, you're talking about bikes getting, with the R6 Cup, all the bikes were taken home, keys were chucked, and you had to get on different bikes each time. That's
what made me raise the point, is that they can control it so much, can't they? But you are giving those bikes the free rein to go home. And people are always looking for a way to do it.
But you can control it, can't it? Our bikes come home with us, not with me.
Yeah, and that's what... But what's good, though, is the fact that the bikes are going home.
You'll never stop cheating either, will you, though?
No, and that's... It's just...
there's a difference in there's a difference between cheating...
Bending the rules.
And not even bending the rules, but reading the rules the right way.
Yeah.
But
I think that happens more in sport now.
Yeah.
I don't think much cheating happens these days.
Look at Red Bull
any of the MotoGP stuff, like all the real clever stuff that comes through, there's always that's not allowed.
They found a loophole.
Someone goes, that's not allowed, and then actually the way it's written in the rules,
if you did this,
it is allowed.
Yeah.
But it's not. But it is, because it's written in the wrong way.
But you've gone back to the banger thing, which is the perfect side of it. You know, obviously it's got out of hand, like you were saying, on the financial scale of it, to build a superbike, but it's 12 seconds quicker. What's good about this F900? It is the first year. It might be totally different next year. Now, the fact that people are taking bikes home, and what I'm really impressed with is, in that F900 Cup, we can speak to BMW. So, you know, if there's any change, like at the moment, we're catching engine cases. You know, so that's going back to R&D to change. You know, like even a couple of price changes. You know, things that are going to the public market.
Yes,
retail prices or some stuff.
Class, but that's what's going to make it better in the long run. You know, it's going to be, well, are these bikes going to be better doing this and doing that? And it may even get to a point of valve changes, valve checks before race meetings, and it's evolution. And like you say, if you can take
the manufacturer will want to know what you'll know from the work, your 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job, and I know from mine that they'll take data from all of that. You know, that's a golden opportunity for them
100%.
to get so much data and information on those engines, on the chassis, that'll go into the next model or into the revisions that they start doing for the current bike.
It's a ultimately a marketing exercise for them, though, really.
Yeah.
And it's a smart way because they're getting everybody
mint.
else to pay for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's not costing them anything, is it? Yeah.
No, but what's good though is the fact that you had everyone in that race. It was like the front five, and then you had it was just an axe murdering fight. It was mint.
I like the setup of the heat race, and that's cool. It's a bit hard to follow.
Yeah, I didn't
first,
struggle with it.
but it is cool.
I didn't follow
It's different.
it, to be honest.
And then you pick your grid. The first 2 rows pick their grid slot, don't
Yeah.
they? Like motocross out of
Yeah,
Oh, is it really? I didn't
it's
actually
full
know that.
Supercross style. It is good.
Oh.
But it's going to be. It's for me. I'll tell you what, because I haven't done all the circuits. Which track's going to definitely split the grid? In your opinion?
Alton.
Yeah, Alton, Cadwell. You're into Cadwell?
Not sure yet.
No, I was in the championship.
The championship goes there, but
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alton, Cadwell.
Yeah.
I think Thruxton will be awesome on them.
You'll go well round Thruxton.
Because that'll
You'll
be
go
pure,
well round
because
that.
it's like Moto3 racing. I think it'll be pure
Drafting.
mega.
Just be drafting
Because
everywhere.
I think you'll just shut off in 2 corners, and everywhere else will just be epic.
But
Yeah.
like drafting around there, it's
Just
just
flat.
like that was the thing about the bike. Because unfortunately, the 2 Smith lads, if any, Nicky Coates or the Smith lad, were arguably the people who've stepped up. You know, that feeder element that we're briefly talking about. I think if anyone's going to be able to take it to Coops, it's the Smith lads. Honestly, believe that.
what about Dominic Herbertson?
Oh, he's getting a Miley Cyrus from me at one point, but it's but on a consistent element for a championship, you know, it's gonna.
Oh my god!
But it's just get the red out. No, like the Smith lads. But I'm thinking about Miley Cyrus naked on a Dragon Ball now. It's totally gone off this one. But it's so crucial to have the draft because one of the Smith lads went down in front of me. I had to hit the brake and I lost that toe. And even the lads, Strudwick and Coop said, like, not in the same room, separate times, you can't do the 1 minute lap without a toe.
No.
You know, and there was only like 5 of us doing it, and that was the front 5.
Do you think if you'd have just lost that toe and let a little bit of a gap come in, you wouldn't have recovered? You were depending on that toe to keep you with
100%.
Yeah.
And like I was point 0.3 off Coops on that record, but that toe was so crucial to it. Actually, Chrissy's spotter, Kev Pinder, he got on the phone, and it was actually it was a huge reality check for me because he was looking at figures and going, why? He's very factually driven. He's going, well, why did you lose the toe and stuff like that? I said this and that. I set the fastest sector in sector 3, and this is what I'm learning because he's like, well, how did you do it? And I'm going, I have no idea, but I didn't lap 10, and at that point I was totally by myself. Then my ideal, I can do the lap by myself, but it's learning to control myself as a rider to construct it.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
the
sort
good
of-
thing about that class.
This is what I'm learning. And
putting you in out of your comfort zone a little bit, which is a
Massively.
good thing because it's putting you in a situation and in a racing environment that you're not familiar with. And I think, to be fair, mate, you held your own.
I
agree, yeah.
I tell you what,
What was good is the first race when we were having a pint, you weren't drinking. I was having a pint, you were not drinking.
It was on lime and soda. Lime and soda.
That was it. You even said you like I got bullied a bit on the first race, and you did a little bit.
What do you mean a little?
But the Sunday race you didn't. So like you actually thought about it and you did something about it, which was good.
All I could think of was Chrissy would have just been going, you soft shite, and he didn't swear in a moment. It's like, because I tell you what, being open and honest with you, totally open and honest with you, that first race, I realised all the mistakes I've ever done on a short circuit, and I haven't done a lot of short circuits, but it's that roads mentality, and it's especially like Ulster and Northwest. You go in and you go, right, let everyone settle, then go. I did that in Heat 1 and I got murdered for it. Like I dropped from I was like 5th in the first heat race and I dropped back to 12th. And I went, what have I done? I literally came round turn 3 and went, let everyone else settle. And I went, why? I came in full of foot and I was like, why did I just say that?
Yeah. Whereas now you've got
It's
when the lights
110%
go,
at turn 1.
banzai
I
at turn
couldn't,
1.
I couldn't, and I honestly, all I could think of was like,
Especially in that
crispy
class. The Superbike class is probably a bit...
No, but even that was the thing, you know.
Yeah, you can't give anything away, can you?
No, and all I could think of was quickly going, and I just remember it going to that main race, going, nah, you know.
What would Chrissy do? Drill him into turn 1.
It would, and you know what? I just had to go, you know, and I learned, you know, could have gone round there myself a million times, and I wouldn't have learned more than what I did with that BSB experience.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's what you wanted. You wanted racing laps. That's what you said you were doing it for.
Oh, Christ!
And your the bikes aren't like super complicated, so you can just concentrate on riding. So it's perfect for you.
I think there's such a
And
huge...
you finished fourth. So
Yeah, fair play to
that's
him.
not shit.
Just need one more, then the next one. Then
Well, we're
You
going to
never
say
know.
that's like the first loser, but we're going to say
it really is. But anyway, right, let's... Okay, so we've gone through your job. You're back on the airwaves, my man, with World Endurance.
yeah.
Let's talk about that, my man. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well,
Back in the hot seat.
I stepped in to do that commentating for World Endurance last year, which was thanks to Chrissy, to be fair. He'd had a phone call from Eurosport, and he rung me and he said, do you want to come down and do it with me? You've been there and done a bit of it. You know what the boys are going through. So I said, yeah, fucking hell, I don't know if I'll be any good at it. And to be fair, it's hard. It's a completely different gig to... I think I actually said this while
You've never
while
done
we were on
commentating
there.
up to that point.
No,
ever. Like
you know when you sit at home and you're watching from home and you're watching it on your 42-inch TV, and you see
All
someone
right,
skittle
massive.
off in the background, and you go, "That's so and so," because you could tell by the colour of his helmet, and you know it was. And I've done it with World Superbikes, and you go, "What the fuck are these lads doing?" You're in a booth with a tiny little screen with showing the live feed. You haven't got any other images, so you're not seeing things from other camera angles. You've just got the live feed that everybody else is watching. You've got live timing, and then all over the walls there's paper notes on everything. You're trying to take a lot in and still keep the like. Luckily for me, I'm in there. I was in there with a lad called Tom Gaymore, who's super professional. He's the lead. He's the equivalent of Steve Day or Jack Bernacle, you know, and I'm there just to sort of talk about what the riders are going through and talk about it from a racer's point of view. But it makes such a difference when you're next to somebody like that who you can just sit and chill out, and they sort of feed the conversation into you, and then you get a little bit more confident to be able to sort of speak up on your own and stuff. But look, for sure, I'd rather be racing in it. I'd rather be riding than talking about it, but the opportunities aren't there, and I'm 34 and it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I can't chase something that isn't there, you know. So I tried to knock a load of doors down over winter and nothing happened. I think I said when we sat down and talked about it, there was 3 conversations and probably now it'll come with it, and that came of it. So it is what it is. So the next best thing is to get an opportunity with Eurosport. So yeah, it's cool. I got to start the race and finish the race and all the bits in between as well. Fucking hell.
You did 2 hour stint, then 3, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah. Did 2 hours, 3, and then an hour. Yeah. Maybe not that many 3s. Yeah. No, you were right. There was about an hour and a half.
I watched nearly all of it.
Did you?
Shut up, man.
Did you?
I did, yeah. I was glued to it.
It was a little bit...
Are you not doing anything there?
No.
Hold on, was this the 24
hours of Le Mans, yeah.
Your child does not sleep.
Well, it was my first night with Toby, although Nicola had gone out on the piss, so it was like my first night. So like, I watched, so I was like, oh, Le Mans starting, so I watched it, and I was like,
You're trying to
absolutely
wake
glued to it,
Toby
'cause
up.
straight away, like, it was absolute, like...
Carnage.
To
It was just
start
carnage.
with.
So last
The
year...
Suzuki bike went down on the first corner.
Well, last year,
after a nudge.
Bradley
did
Smith
it?
got whoop-tished, absolutely ridden into the back of, made quite a mess of him, to be fair. All year, the factory Yamaha, the Yart team, last year really struggled to get off the line. And from talking to Claudio Corti, who rides one of the other Yamahas in the Superbike, if they leave them in gear and try and start them from the Le Mans style starts with them in gear, they don't want to turn. So they've got to leave them in neutral, start them in neutral, then put them in gear and go. And whatever they've done over the winter, they've obviously fixed that problem. So we were thinking, well, everyone's just watching the Yart bike to see if they get away.
Do you normally start it in gear then?
Yeah, normally
Oh,
you leave
that's
them in
the thing.
first, jump on them and go.
Oh, right.
But yeah, everyone was just sort of, is the Yart going to get off the line? And then that little first right kink, the factory Honda went into the inside of the factory Suzuki and just obliterated the bike, didn't it? There was
Yeah,
just nothing
completely.
left of
So
it.
was that
Cartwheeled
was
it.
that them out then?
No.
No, they
There's no
got
such
it.
thing as out.
You can get it going, but you're
They got
a
it
million
back,
laps down,
but
yeah.
it was
It
a lot of
cartwheeled.
laps down.
It cartwheeled.
Yeah.
It was 19 laps down by the time they got
That
it
was
out.
it, yeah.
But considering how...
That's not bad. Only 19 laps.
Well,
Considering
there
how
was a
bad...
safety car, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
There was a
But
safety car right at
considering
the
how
beginning,
bad
which
the
sort of
bike
went to
was,
their
like
favour, but-
there wasn't much left of it.
No.
Holy shit.
Nearly nothing left
How
of
did he
it.
get it
And
back then? Because you've got to get it back under its own steam.
You don't have to get it back under its own steam.
It can get
Because
taken
Dan Linfoot crashed his bike in the night.
They had to drag
and
it out the gravel,
got
didn't
it.
they?
Yeah, they dragged it out and
But
recovered it back.
Greg was able to ride
Greg
that
rode it
bike back. If you looked at it, like the rear wheel was fucking square, and there was a puncture. The handlebar had dropped off.
He rode it back.
And
Did he have to do a lap?
No, so he got it through the gap in the fence and then was able to ride it back down the slip road and get it back. But you can't.
Jesus.
You have to push it. You can't be assisted. So you have to do it on your own.
To the garage. To
pit lane. Then you can have two. And then when you get into the garage, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And even if...
Jesus.
Oh, so, but you've got to get it back, so they can't bring it back on a trailer then?
No. Not to my knowledge. No.
So even they dragged Linfoot's bike out the garage?
Yeah, Linfoot, they must have dragged it off the track,
They'll have got it
the access road, and then he has got it
to
back.
get it back, yeah. I think the thing is
you get it back by any means.
Right.
But when you're racing, especially at endurance, like when I did Spa with certain stuff, and obviously I never started any of the races, but they were basically saying, if you crash, just crash to the inside of the track, especially at Spa, because there's no real access roads around.
Yeah.
So it's literally like,
if you're gonna crash,
forest.
Just do it this way.
You have to, just do what you can to get back, because there's a lot of rules. Like if you cross the track with a messed up bike, you'd be in trouble.
Right.
So you just got to really. There were certain places like do not crash in a certain place because it'll take you an hour just to get back, even if your bike was running.
Can you imagine pushing that back up from the bottom up that road to get it back up to the pit lane at Spa?
But by any means, you just get it back. So it was absolute. It was just.
What did you make of that crash then? So basically, the turn one crash was very similar to the Hickey O'Halloran.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Sort of incident that happened
just at the start of it, except it wasn't on the last lap of a BSB. It was on the first lap of a 24-hour race.
24-hour.
That's almost worse.
And I sat on the fence to start off with because.
You can't pick sides.
No, the camera angles are difficult. And I know when I'd seen that one of Hickey and O'Halloran, it changed what it looked like completely. And camera angles are really, really deceptive, aren't they? So I didn't really want to say Josh Hook on the Honda was out of line. But then there was another camera angle later on. And I thought, yeah, it was completely... Regardless of what happened, it was unnecessary to put himself in that position.
At that time in the race.
Yeah. There was no need to react the way that he reacted.
Who was on the Suzuki?
Greg Black.
Who actually doesn't crash, does he?
No, he doesn't crash. And he did an interview not long after it, and I thought he was gonna, because he's an angry man, Greg Black. Lovely,
is he?
But angry, yeah.
He was very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic.
You could tell
what he was going to tear him a new one, but he was he was very diplomatic with what it was, given what it just cost them.
He looked.
It's only a 4-round series, like one crash puts you out.
Yeah.
Well, they're not out because they finished 7th at the end.
Yeah. 24 hours and they finished 7th.
Yeah, after all that, finished 7th. Yeah. But you actually score points, so they had already got 5 points for pole, so that helped.
And then they get points.
And then they get points every 8 hours.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So I don't think they scored in the first 8 hours, but they did it 16 and 24. So
by the
just
time they
keep
get to the
going.
end of the championship, those
Makes a
points may
difference.
well count for something if Honda have a breakdown at the next round or something. So,
but I was glued to it. It was fantastic, really good race. And with endurance, people think you just bimbling round, but they are going like fuck.
No one ever bimbles
we should give a shout out to the ADSS lads as well.
Yeah.
So they finished 6th in class,
and they'd had a crash early on.
And they had a crash.
They were nearly last in the first hour.
And who's riding that? Chris Walker.
Chris Platt, who owns the
team,
owns the ADSS team.
Have you rode for these lads before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, isn't
and
Craig Watson, Captain Kawasaki's very own.
Because there's also an all-British French team.
Oh, and they had Stephen Hill. That was it. Sorry,
I seen that. Sorry,
Stephen Hill. There's an all-British French team in the TRT 27,
which is David Shoebridge, Tom Ward, and Tom Ward. Yeah.
That's actually a really good squad of 3 good riders. Yeah.
Well, they finished 7th in class and had the same thing. They had a crash behind the safety car. I think David.
Loads of people crashed behind the safety car.
Oh, really?
Mental.
Yeah.
Is that cold tyres?
Just cold tyres.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The safety car goes so slow.
Yeah, it's not like a safety car in short circuit racing where they know you're trying to maintain temperature.
It is so
It is
slow.
like
This is like
it's
slow
just
down.
some dude in a Ford Fiesta just like
It was a Porsche, wasn't it? With a fucking.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was a Porsche, but he was just.
he wasn't going very
With
fast.
a light on the top.
He wasn't
just
opening the
bindling along.
yeah.
But
All they're doing is filling time until whatever it is cleared.
Yeah.
They're not trying to keep the race going in a way. Do you know what I mean?
It's very, very slippy as well. It's
Yeah.
not a.
So there was
grippy track.
quite a lot of very good riders went down.
Yeah.
Like the Westies team, they went down.
Yeah.
One of the
I thought
factory
it was
Kawasaki
like
went
No
down.
lean angle, just.
The other thing is obviously they run certain teams run different tyres that aren't as good in the cold.
Yeah.
Like the Bridgestones are known to be horrendous. Even the first lap after every safety car, the Bridgestones were like 10 seconds off what they could do.
Because they were just having to
Because
build
the
it
low
up.
light.
Just
yeah.
building temperature.
And then early
Yeah.
hours, I think I went back on it. It
It was 1 degree, wasn't it, in the night?
It was 3. Got down to
Was it
3
3?
degrees. Yeah, 3 degrees was.
And then fog.
And then the fog came in, and that just caused carnage because it started bringing moisture into the track. And
I was glued to the timing
What
machine.
would you go on?
mega.
What would you go on tire wise? Would you ever be in a situation the night where you'd ride on an Inter if it was dry but just
no,
cold?
they don't normally.
I
They
think
just
so.
stay on the
Yeah.
slick because the
They
pace
just
is
changed the
that
compound.
fast.
Just go to a lesser.
The pace at night was because I was watching it, but Etienne Messon on the Suzuki was only 3/10 off what the fastest lap of the day was, which was Reiterberger. I think he did the quickest one.
Yeah,
It was like 3/10 off.
Jesus.
it's
Middle of the night.
bonkers. And someone had tweeted us saying
What slippers was he on?
They ride Bridgestones.
Someone had tweeted saying, "Do the times drop off? Do they just ride at this pace for the first hour?" I'm like, no, that is
No.
all race. Maybe the last
The last,
hour.
the
I
last,
love
the
the
last
idea
three,
of it.
maybe it depends. If they get like a couple of laps in the last 3 hours, then they just
But
ride,
then-
ride to a set time that they know they can't
Yeah.
get beaten on.
Yeah,
And well, you did a privateer side of it. How much does the Le Mans? If we started a boy band team here,
roughly as a cost.
Can I be the
Yeah.
reserve rider, please?
even Grace is thinking that's a great idea. Chasing the Racing endurance team Le Mans. Like,
It would be good. It would be
Yeah.
mint.
get in touch
Yeah, but
with
if you
Grace
think-
Rouse
if you think-
at Chase the Racing
if you do this-
hotmail.co.uk.
If you do the Superbike, you're already talking like 60 tyres in the 24 hours.
How well? Will
60.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because you've got to think a stint's 50 minutes or so.
your
And you need
weekends.
two per stint, so you've got nearly 30 stints.
Holy shit.
now I know.
That's 60.
I know you've just started.
So if you do,
Quick maths.
so if you're doing stock, your average cost is going to be somewhere between 10 and 13 grand at an absolute bem, if you're lucky. That's
Flip.
not including
That's just running.
crash
Yeah,
time.
but
That's
sure you're
just
going
for
to
your
do like,
tyres and your fuel.
you'll do flipping 3-4
That's
grand in
that's
fuel,
what
won't you?
that's what the costs were coming back at.
Is it
There's
controlled
any
somewhere
chance
around
at all
fuel?
will
It's
for
3-4
Lendia?
grand when I'd take me van to the co-op to fill for fuel. Never mind. flipping.
Not being funny, but you wouldn't want to do it on his superbike. You'd want to do it on a super stock bike.
No.
And
Like,
enjoy it.
I'd love to have a Ducati, even if it
The
was only for
stockers
one lap.
they'll maybe do 4 stints on a tyre. The ADSS guys were doing 4
On a front they
four
do, yeah.
stints.
Yeah,
No, they did
on
4
the
stints
fronts.
on a rear.
Did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
On slicks as well, or on
yeah,
treaded?
yeah, on slicks.
Whoa.
Got to make it work.
But the thing is, if they get the bike set up and it's working,
Yeah. We're talking 15 grand to run the event, not the 150 grand that you need to buy all the shit to do it in the first place.
yeah.
Well, if I get
You
me
might need to
dash,
upgrade the
if I
trailer.
get me dash back from Australia, I'll put the bike.
Well, the reigning champions won, so TSR won.
Yeah.
Was
And
it Yar-
Gino got to do a lap. So
Yeah,
Gino,
that was really cool.
Gino's
that
back.
was mega.
And we've seen Gino back at BSB. It's really
Yeah,
nice to see
yeah.
him back
Good.
at BSB. Obviously,
Good.
he runs an outfit there anyway.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see him. He was actually in our hospitality.
Yeah,
I haven't got to chat to him yet, but it was really
His
cool to
bikes
see
looked
him.
amazing. Like the super sport bike Ducati thing
Really?
looked unreal. I love
I've
the
seen
colour. It's like a orangey colour. Fucking lovely looking thing.
They got him on the grid and got him in his leathers, and he did like
Did a lap of
parade
honour, didn't
lap.
he?
It was
Cool.
fucking brilliant. To be fair, that lad's gone through absolute hell. It was that was looking bad after
Yeah.
Suzuka. That was not looking like he was going to be a very well person. So I think
And he's been back on a bike track day anyway,
Yes,
not
yeah.
just a parade lap. So he's been
Yeah.
back proper. So it was a good race. And Yamaha actually finished a race
yeah,
because last year I don't think they finished a single race.
Oh, really?
yeah they did.
I think did they? Which one?
Yeah.
Really, it must have been a short one because they shit themselves all the time.
Did they not at Most?
Yeah, it was 6 hours.
Oh,
probably
didn't
why.
finish a 24 hour.
Six hours round there.
That BMW was
intense,
fragile
that.
last year as
Well,
well.
it was
though.
very fragile, and that carried on. So
That was good. I think that's the nice thing as well about it is that in that championship it was Honda, Yamaha, BMW, Ducati fourth. Kawasaki were fourth, weren't they? You know, all the manufacturers are in there punching, and Ducati, there or thereabouts, they seem to have they had the same issue.
Isn't Chaz Davies riding that?
Yeah.
It looks cool in the white and the blue, and I like that.
It's just nice to see in a championship, and you know when you
3 different tyre manufacturers going.
Yeah,
well.
it's cool.
Actually, there's a 4th.
Anywhere, do you?
There was King Tyre. Did you
Was there?
see it? Oh, the King Tyre racing team. I picked it out because I seen, they're in the Superbike class. And I didn't realise that King Tyre, I just thought it was like some random sponsor, but it's actually the tyres.
and that's what I mean. How easy it is to miss things because you're looking at everything else and you wanted.
Judging by the lap times, you don't want to be racing on King Tyres.
That was my question. There you go. Simple as that. I'm looking down sponsorship.
I was going to say, don't send a CV to King Tyres.
I'll tell you what. On roads news, Dunlop have pulled out the TT.
Oh, really?
No Dunlop tent at all. Nothing. Only
You can still
Metzeler.
How
run
have I
Dunlop
not seen
tyres
that?
if you
No,
want
you
to.
can still. That's where people have gone wrong on that because
okay.
people were saying, "Oh, you can only run Metzlers." It's not the case. You can run at the TT. You can run whatever you want. You can run Michelin's. You can run King tyres.
So you just have to buy it.
Is
You
this
have to buy
after
them, yeah.
the
But Dunlop won't be there
issues
to
they're having
fitness
last
like
year?
There's been no.
They're not going.
No.
Yeah.
No,
That's
not
what.
good.
Yeah.
So it's like Dunlop will not have a presence in the paddock.
Is that because you think they got bad press from previous?
Well,
Possibly,
they were having
but there's
issues
been-
last year.
But then again, there's no worse press than almost admitting if that's the reason. That's like, actually, we shouldn't go
It's
there.
very guilty, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there hasn't
It
been.
wasn't me, but I'm not going to go again.
I mean, they only come to BSB for the British Talent Cup now.
Yeah, but they weren't even there. That was Holbeach.
Oh, well, they're not. I seen.
That was Holbeach. So they
A private firm.
The private firm. who
And then
supplied
they just
them
had
that
some
time.
Dunlop people there then.
Yeah, so I think the
Seen Pat
Holbeach
Walsh
lads.
and stuff was there, but he was only
Oh,
kicking
right.
about.
Well, I've been wrong many a time, to be fair.
I've never
Mind
seen
you.
the truck, to be fair, but it's only because I seen him walking down the paddock that I thought, oh, they're there.
Well, Pat Walsh is like the British representation
Yeah.
of like.
So does that have any implications for anyone?
I'm not really sure. Now there hasn't been any press release on that side of it, but there's been like the sole supplier.
But like, who would have been your Dunlop runners in the past?
Well, Hickey,
bloody hell.
Well, Hickey's sponsored by them, isn't he?
He's a
Padgett's.
tester for them, isn't he? He's done a lot of
Padgett,
work.
if you cut Clive Padgett in half, there's only 3 colours that'll come out of him. That'll be Honda.
Clive Padgett have a
K-Tech
tyre machine
and
there and
Dunlop.
he'd be charging everyone to fit the tyres.
No, but that's the thing. Hickman is still a Dunlop factory rider.
Yeah.
So
he'll be on
he'll
Dunlops,
be still on
yeah.
Dunlops, you know what I mean? So, and I think Michael Dunlop, he rode Metzlers once, he didn't agree with them. You know, it's like that personal preference, especially when it comes to racing around on the roads.
Yeah.
You know, you want something to work, you make it
To be
work, don't you?
fair, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I remember having a conversation with Paul Phillips that I thought it was wrong that only Arai were allowed to be in the paddock. Do you remember?
Oh, was that true?
Yeah, well,
I didn't-
Arai sort of they were the ones in the paddock.
Well, they're like
Yeah.
the
My understanding
safety
was
supplier.
that the other manufacturers weren't. They
Welcomed,
weren't
yeah.
going to be allowed to have a spot, and I have to believe that's changed now. But you know,
Oh, no, yeah, Shoei and stuff
Shoei
like that.
send
yeah.
over somebody in a van and they'd do the work
Yeah.
that he's doing for Hickey. So Hickey'll find a way around that, won't he? It won't be.
Oh, no,
it won't be a
100%, but
problem
that-
for him. But
That's the way it's being portrayed at the moment. But like you say, it's going to be.
so you've just got Metzler and Pirelli there.
Yeah, so, well,
Which
Preddy
is
on.
obviously got
Preddy
same
on
thing,
there, it's
yeah.
Metzler, yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
it's, yeah. There we go. There we
And you're
go.
on Metzlers.
I'm on Metzlers. Yeah. So it's, I was on them last year. I keep getting mixed up with COVID, mate, because like there was 2 years of just totally throwing the balance out the window. You think, when were we there? When we're not there?
Yeah.
But there we go. But I'll tell you what, before we tidy up today's show,
You've done some winning and you haven't told anyone about it.
yeah, well, anyway, right. So
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about Croft. Didn't you win a few races there?
yeah.
Was that the
Oh, yeah, then.
Kenny
Yeah, no,
Redfern?
You can't like.
Hold on, was that
I
the...
don't want. I don't want to. I'm looking at Paul Grace here. I don't even know how long we've been. Oh, sweet Jesus!
Do you
We
know,
are
was
in
that,
trouble.
was
We
that
are
the
in
last
trouble
running?
here.
Was that the last running of that trophy?
I'm not sure because
I think it was.
Was it?
Ken Redford. Didn't
Was
you?
that the last time the Ken Redford could be won?
That's what I thought it was, yeah.
I hope not. I
Who-
think it's
who
the
won it?
heaviest mo.
Did you win it?
No,
James,
James Alderson. What a lovely fella! Like I tell you what, that's the 2 lads Chrissy used to big up. You know what I mean? Like always that. Who, you know, if you ask the question, who do you see coming through the ranks? It was Frank O'Bourne, he's absolutely bang on the money
Yeah.
there.
Proved his point there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And James Alderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's just doing no limits this year, isn't he?
He is,
Because
aye.
he can't afford BSB, basically, is what I was told. But
That's it. And it's I think they've got some like guy. So, but what a lovely lad, the pair. You know, just typical North East lads.
on
you
a
know.
Triumph as well, wasn't he? Which was good to see.
Yeah, no, it's good to see that. And but I'm looking forward to seeing what. I think the Northwest is the next big one coming up. So you've got Cookstown running this weekend. And then after that, unfortunately, the Tanragee not running, which I'm personally gutted about. I used to take the piss with Chrissy because the tagline for the show when we first started, Chrissy like, we have to go with a tagline. It was like everything from Tanragee to MotoGP. Well, I did win a Tanragee, and I'm like, right, Chrissy, I've done my bit.
Actually, that reminds me, I was pissed off a few at Croft because...
Oh, cheers, mate.
I rode a CB500 like for the weekend. It was great fun. And I qualified on pole and I was like, yes, I'm going to have a timesheet with P1 on. I have not had that for a long time. And he was, the fucking 650s were out at the same time. And this fucker was on pole. So he was P1 on the timesheet. I was just... I
Can't even give him that.
Pissed off.
I wasn't got it.
We got a cool photo on the front of the grid for about 30 seconds until Dom pissed off.
Frank Houghton can make a good bike, right? That's what I'm saying. Frank Houghton can make one hell of a bike. But before wrapping this up, has anything been outstanding? How many rounds of MotoGP we had? Two? How many worlds have we had?
Superbike.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
Has there been anything of note that we want to...
What's his name getting his leg ripped off?
Loris Baz. By which Lowe's?
Alex.
There's only one. Yeah,
There's only
Alex.
one in that track
Alex,
class,
yeah.
Jesus.
I can't watch it.
Surprisingly, the first time that we've seen a leg dangle incident.
Yeah.
Proper one.
Yeah.
And Loris Baz was actually all right about... No, he was obviously...
And
game,
Loris
but he was
Baz actually doesn't leg dangle very far out. It sort of caught him because it was kind of on the floor.
Do you agree with the leg dangle? Well, you're not a leg dangler.
No, only when I'm panicking.
When it's all
So-
going wrong.
I love that. Every BSB from now on, we see a leg dangle. Fucking. And yet again, we had another technical malfunction.
No, we didn't have a technical... Why does everything run on AA batteries in this world of, like...
I did look at that and
stuff?
think, why is it not plugged into the mains? But it is what it is.
You've been here 10 minutes, Joe.
It's
Don't
the
judge
same-
the system.
No, but Joe, you would have seen it when you've done like Eurosport stuff. They've got like a carrier bag of AA batteries. It's the weirdest thing ever. You've got like the most... This equipment that everyone has is so expensive. It runs on flipping Duracell.
I'm looking at Grace for the Patreon budget going, have we got a carrier bag of battery budget? Can you please subscribe and become a patron of the show? Anything else?
My point, Alex Rins, MotoGP from Circuit of Americas, that was outstanding.
Well, it is considering Honda have had like just zero success.
Did he not just look like a happy bloke on that bike? The thing was moving about, but he just looked super confident. Oh, it was brilliant. Really good to watch.
I mean, the track looked horrendous, didn't it? In general, for like there was so few finishers.
Yeah.
It was to catch out that caliber of bike and rider. You know, I think we ended up with 14 finishes, didn't we?
Something like
Something like that. Out of a grid of 22, 23.
There was like 3 down on lap 1.
There was a lot. I mean, like, it even caught our Brit, Jake Dixon, out on the warm-up lap in Moto 2. So, like, obviously the track was difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked super bumpy, but yeah, Rins has always been good there. He won there on the Suzuki.
Yeah.
It's always been like
He's
his
won
bread
there on
and
Moto
butter.
2 as well, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
I think he might have won in all 3.
I think he has run in all 3.
So there's obviously something about him, which is kind of weird because his style almost lends itself you wouldn't necessarily think that would be his sort of track. I wouldn't have thought so. You obviously think different. Well, obviously works, so I'm wrong. So
no, I don't think you're right. Or I think the way they all ride those MotoGP bikes now, they're all unique in the way they get stuck in, aren't they?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's bonkers.
It is insane.
They are so far on the limit.
Well, we've had, I guess, notoriety. We've had 2 weekends of Pecco crashing.
Yeah.
Out of good positions. You know, like the reigning world champion took in the front twice. Once in the damp, once in not the damp, out of the lead.
We've got no Marquez.
We've got no Marquez again because he's injured, and then when he does come back, he's got lots of long lap stuff to do.
That was
because he took out Miguel. Again, there's been a lot of different sort of stuff.
Did I understand it right that the rules currently mean that those penalties?
No, they rewrote them. You're going to say was served when he wasn't there?
Yeah.
No, they rewrote them.
They did rewrite.
That would have been bad form.
Because that was the initial thing.
When it was written again, it was one of them things about where you read the rules. It said will be served at the next Grand Prix.
Yes.
It doesn't say that you're riding
that.
Yeah. Then they put an amendment in.
Yeah. What did you make of that crash where he took out Oliveira? Just one of those things.
I think it's a typical. I think it's a racing incident, but it's also a typical Marquez racing incident.
Yeah.
So yes, he like folded the front a little bit, but then when he does that, he always dives to the inside.
Yeah.
Whereas most other riders, I think it's just his. I don't think you could ever stop him from doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's his thing. But he nearly did it on the first lap, and actually the only reason he got away with it is because there was no one else there.
Yeah.
Whereas when he did it 4 laps later, there was someone there.
Yeah.
So it was an identical thing. So it's a little bit. I don't think he necessarily needed the book thrown at him, but it was twice.
I think they've got to set a bit of a precedence, haven't they? They've got to set the stall out and say, you boys need to just be...
You're on the limit. You need to think about what you're doing.
And also now, like, they've sort of made it worse in a way because they've got these sprint races now.
Yeah.
So that's obviously new to MotoGP. So these sprint races...
Which I like.
I was going to say, in a like a yes or no answer, sprint races, yes or no, yeah. I'm a yeah.
Dom?
100% yes.
I'm a no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know why you're saying that, because you're not getting paid any more money. You'd have to do 2 extra races, which I get, but...
No, it's not that. It's just because I see MotoGP as like the premier, and it's a one race. It's a Grand Prix on a Grand Prix race.
You're taking tradition away a bit, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I do get that, but
and actually,
it's exciting though,
is it exciting? Like the gap between the top 10 in the sprint race at Kota and the gap between the top 10 in the long race was only 2 seconds different. For twice the distance.
It's great to see more of that racing. For me personally, that's
but it does generate the desperation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But as a
also the drama.
Is that not better? That's better as a viewing spot.
I like it how on a Saturday, if you like, so when you're not at BSB or wherever, and you've got a weekend at home, and you're like gonna go out on a Saturday night, and you get a MotoGP race before you go out. I love that.
Not go out.
I have to do that apart from
you've all got kids. You've all got kids. I'll rephrase that. Just a GP race on a Saturday. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's class. I tell you what, I've got, now that we're talking about MotoGP, I've got a great question on the Patrons here from Luke. And what are your thoughts on the surface of Circuit of Americas? What's your thoughts on that? Now to him, it looks like an incredibly bumpy, shitty version of Knock Hill on the TV. Any thoughts on that? Obviously, I've personally never raced it. You know what I mean?
That you said then.
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on it, but I don't necessarily think the bumps are what was catching people out. I think there was obviously just a lack of adhesion. From the track, and it's also a super technical circuit. Like, it's ridiculously technical. There's not another circuit like it, so it's also easy to make a mistake. So I think those two things combined.
And I've got another one from Jess, but you see a lot of these, like Aaron, Craig, you've got William Boyd, you've got Tony Rose, Jason, you've got Timu. I apologise if I've got that wrong. I really do apologise.
Do they know Timmy?
Okay, we've just lost a patron, Chris. That's
edit that out. Sorry.
Do not edit that out. You love that. There you go. So, sorry, mate. That's all him, not us.
Fucking filter got removed then, didn't it?
And removed 100%. Oh god!
You're always so prim and proper as well. Whenever you do Eurosport commentary or anything, he's always like on point in it.
A good one, for, pretty much just a bit of a cheap shot from Jess Mortimer here, which is good. Who was the biggest surprise, good or bad, to you all at Silverstone? We did all. We literally went down in the detail on that.
Yeah.
But
good question, though.
For Josh, what did you put in Jack's breakfast to make him do that? That's from Jess.
One, I'm definitely not in control of the breakfast. He actually made me breakfast at Alton Park. Can you believe that?
You just fluffed him well, didn't you?
Can't say that. Nothing.
Oh, class. Absolutely class. Pablo, same thing again. We naturally go through these questions. It just shows how good all these patrons are. Like they're ahead of us even before
Finger
we
on
get
the
going.
pulse. Love it.
Massively, absolutely massively. But have we got any? Well, what's the next stage for everyone? So it's Alton Park. Back to work?
Back to work. Yeah, back to work with Triumph. We'll do a bit with Triumph, and then Spa for Eurosport if I can't get my ass on a seat, which I am still trying to do.
Happy days. Get that
I
man
didn't
right.
realise that's mint. Yeah. I thought you would like.
No, if I can do World Endurance, I will do World Endurance.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. You've got a Grassy here, one of our patrons, Ty. Are you looking forward to the 24-hour free tech?
Oh shit! Yeah, I've agreed to do it. Well, I didn't. I sort of did, and I didn't agree to do that. I got a phone call.
That's
Teesside.
Oh, is it Teesside?
Teesside.
Did they do one at Mallory?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
I thought they did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it.
Is it 24 hours at?
Yeah.
Thingy.
You've got a very experienced endurance right here.
We did talk about it last time. We said we were going to do it.
That's probably a more realistic version.
We did say we were going to do a team. Yeah, I think we'd not. I think Le Mans a bit far out. I think we'll do Teesside.
Budget-wise, yeah.
Do a free tech one instead.
I'm just going to say that now. I'm up for that.
I'm up for it.
I'm up for that. We just need someone before. Hint. If anyone could provide us a bike, that'd be.
What can you ride? What are you eligible to ride?
They run GSXR 125s and
so there's got to be a
125
125 4-stroke.
Yeah,
Or-
but I don't know the rules, to
And
be honest with you.
preferably red for Grace's sake, so we could just put one Chasin the Racin sticker on
sticker.
it, just one big white sticker, then that's Grace happy day.
Yeah.
G-Race Media. Please
When is
follow,
it?
please
Let's have a
follow
look on
Grace's
eBay and see-
media.
Well, the one I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah.
in August, I think.
Oh, is it a series?
Yeah, there'll probably be another 24-hour. I might be wrong. I'll probably get
Who are you going to let down if we do a team then?
Ty. I can't let Ty down.
No,
just
you
like
can't. You
Ty's
can't.
fine.
I don't want to ride. I'll just be the chef.
Well, let's have a look. We'll have a look and see what else there is.
Sounds good.
And also thank you, Rod, as well, and everyone, Steve Moore, Terry, every one of you. Honestly, without patrons, this show would not go. But have we got any more? Well, any more final?
Can I just say,
Go for it.
I think on behalf of us all sat around this table, when we sat down here to do this the first time 3-4 months ago, whenever it was, when we sat down and did this first one, we were all shiting our pants, weren't we?
And we still are.
How?
To be fair, I've had a bad belly before coming here, and I was like really worried. It's a small trailer. Sorry.
Got a roof.
Carry on with your sentiment.
Yeah, no, I just want to say
Your lovely sentence.
very much to everyone, because I think we're all grateful
Yeah.
for the support, aren't we? I've had some really nice messages from people that I have no idea who they are, but they've sent me messages, and that I
likewise.
appreciate, and I'm sure you guys have had the same. And
Same on pit walk. To be fair, like nearly everyone, like the people that talk to you on the pit walk, they mainly comment on doing the pod.
yeah, it's
awesome.
It's mega. I mean, I did a day instructing at Silverstone a couple of Mondays ago, and people coming up to me that I have no idea, and I'm really uncomfortable with it because I don't really know I'm not very good at compliments, but it's just it's really nice to hear, and it gives me, and I'm sure it gives you guys, a little bit of reassurance that we're doing something that Chris would want us to do, and we're doing him proud, hopefully. So yeah, that was all.
Happy days.
Thank you very much.
agree,
Thank you to everyone, really.
No.
Cheers, Grace.
Yeah, no,
well done, Dolly.
no.
You doing all right?
No.
Like it's
No.
she needs to come to all them.
The thing is, honestly, that's the thing. It's us four, but without Grace, and I said that from the beginning. That. Can you leave while we're talking about you? You know what I mean? Like Grace is in the corner here, but without Grace, it's just
Jobber dropped to bits.
there wouldn't be this pod, and this pod is the Rouses, and she has the power to sack every single one of us. So we better keep up this. It's
late and she wants to go to bed, so we're all going to get fired.
we are.
She's already in her pajamas.
She's been in the corner filling out P45s. That's what
Who made the food tonight? Was it your mum? Oh,
Standard.
top banana.
Absolutely.
literally
Factory.
banana bread in the corner. But on that note, obviously Grace is always pushing like on the social media element, like working her ass off. She's got her own business, G-Race Media. Please follow that. But we are so close, thanks to Grace's all her hard work, at nearly 10,000 subscribers. Nearly 10,000. And just to push that over the edge a little bit more, she's going to do a giveaway. Ooh, I know. Thorthy.
Can we enter the giveaway?
No, you can't.
Oh.
You're out, son. You're out. But also on the Patreon side, one of Chrissy's sponsors was, now I'm going to get this, I always say it wrong. It's Power Tool Hub or Power Hub Tool. One of those. Please follow the socials. Grace will find you the correct link. And they are doing a Milwaukee giveaway. So if you sign up to be a patron, they're going to do a giveaway on that side of things. So, and we can't enter that, lads, but we'll rig it. It'll be fine. But then, yeah, I know you're sitting there, Grace, but thank you so much for just keeping this all going. And to a word to our sponsors, thank you so much to Global Motor. Well, actually, on that note, we are going to go back to Colchester Kawasaki, which is part of the Global Motor family. So all these boards that you'll see on the YouTube element, we're going to go back to the original Colchester Kawasaki. So hopefully the entry from Scott Mills is going to be a little bit more different yet again, him trying to do a Geordie accent. It's great crack. That's what it's about. And please sign up to a Patreon, because without you lot, we'd be absolutely stuffed. And, well, until next time, I think we're going to be doing a... Oh, I know. Yeah, you see, that's why Joe's getting my job on the next run. And I didn't actually intentionally mean to write on the back of my Bennett's policy for my MS6125. That is just seedly sellout, isn't it? But
I've done the same thing. I just haven't got mine yet.
there you go. So no, obviously they have the pit perch and they're getting ready for Knockhill, and I'm looking at Grace in the corner. We've got Knockhill nodding, we've got everything on that side, but get a policy, it's that simple, and then you can apply, not even apply, you go up to garage number 1 at all the meetings, and that gets you access in for coffees, drinks, great crack, and you actually get on the pit wall and watch all the lads go around.
It is actually mint that. I've never seen anything like that. I was
Meet
really
the
impressed
riders,
with
do
it.
all sorts of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
really
it.
good.
And all you
Everyone
have to
comes
do
up-
is produce your Bennett's insurance.
That is it. That is it.
I've just been doing insurance for my bike recently, and the Bennett's one was the best. That's not a plug.
There you
Well,
go.
it is a plug, but
Nice.
it actually
Yeah,
generally
nice.
was.
No, but like it is good because like normally people are queuing up for ages to go down like pit walk, and there's nothing going on. Obviously, you get to meet the riders and go see all you lads, but actually standing on pit wall and getting that
They do a
rush
lot.
feeling.
Last pod we did, it was the Bennett's Rewards go-kart day.
Yes,
Cool stuff like that.
that's what it's about, and that's what it's about. But no, thank you so much, Colchester Kawasaki Glow Moto. Click, buy, deliver. Please follow the socials, and more importantly, lads, Chris will be proud of you, and thank you so much. And we will all catch you at the next reunion.
Cheers, boys.
See you in a bit. Thank you so much.
Chasin the Racin. Powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.